I want to welcome everybody to the June 6th meeting. We're going to come on in, get started and try to stick to our agenda. We have a full agenda today, so we're going to try to stick to our agenda and get through it as quickly as possible. We'd like to open our meeting this morning with prayer. Supervisor Trainer, would you like to open us this morning with prayer?
Yes, ma'am. Let us pray. Our Father in heaven, we thank you for the opportunity to be here. We just thank you, Lord, that you have kept us from the last time we were at this place up until now, and we just pray, Father, that you just give us the guidance and the knowledge to make the decisions and have discussions that will be beneficial to those that we serve. Father God, we realize there's a lot of stuff going on, but we're going to continue to look to the hills from whence come our help, and all our help comes from you. And Father, just remember all those who've asked us for special prayer and all the different things that's going on, from the pandemic to the economy to the war. Father God, we ask that you just move in a mighty special way and allow your will to be done. We pray that once our business is done here, that you give us traveling grace to go our separate ways and find things in order wherever they may be. In Jesus' name we pray. Let us all say together, amen.
Amen. Next in your packet you have the board orders. Has everybody had a chance to look at those?
Yes, ma'am. Motion for approval.
Second.
All right, we got a motion for approval by Supervisor Trainer.
I have one observation.
Okay, and we got discussion though by Supervisor. A second by Montgomery.
There were some recommendations for some changes to be made, and that's good that those recommendations was noted, but it wasn't noted what type of changes. And a person look at this, they would just say changes made to number 6.
I believe those orders were changed, were they not?
They were.
They were
It was
changed before they
completely
were
new
signed and
orders.
entered into the record.
Okay.
We did new orders.
We did new
to
orders.
replace the old orders.
Okay.
And they're recorded on the board minutes.
And didn't you bring those to the meeting? Is that the ones you brought to the meeting for me to sign?
No, you came in
You
office.
signed them before
You
we
would've
come to the
back.
meeting.
Orlando
Okay.
Trainer,
Trainers.
I'm sorry,
Signed.
Supervisor Trainer had to come back and re-sign.
Yeah.
Okay, because those were the meeting I wasn't here, because I didn't sign any
Yes.
change ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was for the first Monday.
Okay,
So that's what
That's
that is
good.
in there.
that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got a motion and a second to approve with the changes that were recommended, and those have already been corrected, they said. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Supervisor,
He said aye.
okay, 5-0. And Supervisor Howard is joining us on the phone. He's not feeling well today. All right, we're now going to open the floor for citizen comment period. You have 3 minutes to speak. When you stand, if you don't mind stating your name for the record, we appreciate that. Any citizen that is interested in coming forward, go ahead. Hello.
Do you stand up or do I sit up? What do you mean?
Either way, whatever you feel
I'll stand
comfortable
up.
with.
I'm not going to be here 3 minutes.
Okay?
Okay. Good morning, first of all.
Good morning.
My name is Frank Nichols, and I live out in Wildbriar. That is my supervisor right there. I came before you this morning as a representative of the Stark Vegas Juneteenth Committee for Unity, and we're having a bunch of Juneteenth festivals, even though they are happening in the city. I want to come and make sure that I make you guys aware of it, even though we're not having anything in the county. And hopefully, you guys support this. And I'll tell you a little bit about the committee. We're just a committee that, because Juneteenth's a federal holiday now, we just put a committee together to celebrate some of the achievements of African Americans. This history is American history. I don't care how we look at it. A lot of us have been covered up. A lot of it we don't talk about, but it's American history. So we simply just want to talk about that and, just kind of unify the whole community, get you to understanding how African Americans are, some of the feats that we've done here in America. So that's all we are. And I wanted to make sure that I came by here and invited you guys to all the festivities. There's a whole lot of stuff in there. Take your time and read it. And we're still seeking donations to make some of this stuff happen. We're trying to do everything free, but like the jazz fest that we're having, it kind of pays for everything else. So we're putting 100% of this back into the community. None of this is going in anybody's pocket. So I just wanted to make sure I come and extend a warm welcome to you guys to anything we're hosting. If you guys have any questions about it, I'll answer.
No, thank you. I mean, we're still making history. Ms. Farmer was the first African-American female to be county.
Congratulations.
Yes.
And I will remind the board too, that on the 20th, they will be inducting Monica at the Unity Park.
And that's a part of these
Yes.
festivities.
Yes.
So
When is the Jazz Fest and how much is it and where do we buy tickets and all that kind of stuff?
You can go online and buy it, or you can buy tickets from me, and they're $40 for general admission, and they're $65, and you get a total package for everything for the whole 5 days. Or you can get $75 for VIP at the Jazz Fest. It's going to be at 5:30 on Saturday, the 18th, right in front of Renaissance Bank. We're going to block that whole street off, put the stage in the middle of the street, and point it back toward the fire station. And we got 5 nationally known jazz artists, which is like a first time around here in this area. And these are Grammy Award-winning jazz artists.
And what day is that?
Saturday, July 18th.
And what time is, just so everybody will know from the newspaper, what time is that?
The Jazz Fest starts at 5:30.
June.
I mean. But I give you the schedule that Saturday morning.
Okay.
We got a 5K at 7 o'clock that morning.
Okay.
We got a barbecue contest at 10 o'clock. The Jazz Fest starts at 5:30. But during all that time, we got food trucks, and of course, there's a barbecue contest. You can come out and taste some good barbecue.
Okay, well, thank you. Sounds like a
Look
wonderful day.
forward.
Thank you for your invitation.
We
Thank
look
you.
forward to
Thank you,
it.
sir.
All right.
All right.
Motion to acknowledge.
Okay, we got a motion to acknowledge the event by Supervisor Williams and a second by Supervisor Trainer. All in favor? 5-0. Okay, all right, next citizen. What?
I'm Huey Seals.
Ms. Seals, thank you.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the recreational activities at the Oktibbeha County Lake. I know that's been a big discussion. The dam itself and the lake has for the last several months. And rode out there Memorial Day. Thought we'd see activity going on and people enjoying the beautiful Memorial Day. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Nobody was out there. There was picnic tables out there, but nobody. It's a permit required, camping permit required. There was a playground, but it was locked up because you have to pay to go in there. Y'all say we're going to have walking trails. I didn't see any possibility of a walking trail around there. I have grandkids that like to fish off of a dock. I couldn't see where they could have done that. I was really disappointed. Rode out to Choctaw County Lake. Now you had to pay $5 per vehicle to get in there, but there was all kind of activity going on. People were having picnics. They were having a good time, enjoying the day, swimming, picnicking, walking, fishing off of lots of docks. That looked like fun, having a good time. I just don't see how that can happen at the Oktibbeha County Lake, Dam, whatever. I don't see how that can happen. It doesn't look feasible based on what I see right now. I just wonder if we're using the taxpayer money to the best benefit or the benefit of others. And just as a concerned grandmother and citizen, I wanted to bring my perspective.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Seals. Next. Anybody?
All right.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm George Sells.
Yes, sir.
And just a couple of questions for the board, and I don't expect an answer. Okay, probably some of them y'all can answer. Okay, but out there at the lake, that when you go out there and your engineer has come up with a number of 43,000 cubic feet per second. It's going to go by that dam. If y'all put that back in there as a dam. Have y'all looked into how that's going to affect flooding people that are downstream of the dam? And who's going to be responsible for that? Another thing, who's going to operate and maintain the dam? You know, I know you say, well, the county. Well, the county hadn't done it in 50 years, and so just all of a sudden the county's going to change their method of operation and somebody's going to go out there and really take care of the dam. Your engineer group that you hired wouldn't go out there and do a site assessment until you clear it off the dam. So what does the county do? They send a crew out there and clear off the dam and pile up all the willow trees in the lake bed. so that when the water comes up, it floats over and gets over the exit gate. Okay? That's the worst thing you could do. Now, if that's the way that you can operate the new dam, what's going to change? And the last thing is that if you do anything out there at that dam, you're going to end up probably putting in a bridge and a road, renewing the road. Don't forget that Supervisor Howard has bridge and road money from the state aid that can be used to help pay for that bridge and help redo that road. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Sims.
Can I make a comment on some inaccurate information Mr. Steele just made, inaccurate statements? He stated that the willow trees were cut, piled up over in the lake, and they have washed over the outlet. Not one single limb from those willow trees have moved. What he is seeing is all of the growth of the tall grasses that washes down from back up on the far west end of that lake. It's been stated a couple of times that those willow trees is blocking the outlet. That is completely inaccurate information. Completely inaccurate information, as well as a lot of other things. But I just want to make sure that that is said, because I keep hearing that same statement over and over, and not one limb from those willow trees has moved.
I do have photographs of all kind of limbs on top of that. And in fact, I think that I furnished them to several people, and those photographs were even furnished to the newspaper.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's your statement. I live here, I see it. So I'm just telling you, your statement is inaccurate. That's all.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr.
Or
Thank you,
albeit
Supervisor.
that inaccurate things are said in this boardroom.
Next citizen. Anybody else would like to speak for 3 minutes? Thank you so much for your comments. We appreciate y'all coming. We do appreciate y'all. We know that you've visited our board meetings several times, and we know it takes time to be an involved citizen. We do appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to move on to the next item on the agenda. Historic signage for East Activa Hall School District. Duval?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, would you like to come forward? Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning.
And thank you very much for the opportunity to speak on behalf of the alumni of the East Activa County. I'd like to share some information with you just prior to me speaking. We're asking that the board, we can only do this if the board approves it, and we're just asking for a sign to be placed out front of the old Moore High School, which is the East Activa County school now. And it just, and this information will explain what it is. We basically just want, let me pass these up quickly first before I continue. Please forgive me.
Is this something the historic group does?
Ma'am.
Is this something that the historic group does, like, or placed across the state? Is that
Yes,
something?
ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. It is. Yes, ma'am. And the sign basically will look like this, like the signs that you see around the county and the city.
I'm gonna hold it up so the people in the audience can see, you know, just historic signage, and people online can see. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. And basically, all we're asking for your approval, and we are asking that the sign basically say a legendary education institution for black students at the former Activa County School District. Excuse me. Moore High was built after the Supreme Court ruling that Rosenwald schools were unconstitutional at the dawn of the Civil Rights era. Moore High was built in 1960 and abolished on May 30th, 2015, known as East Activa County School. Moore High educated black students in both high school and elementary grades after desegregation in the 1970s. And that's pretty much all we're asking for. It's a very
Is this what would be on, this would be what would be on the market?
Everyone, yes, sir.
And would this be on the part of the property that's leased right there in front, or?
That property actually belongs to the county.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it-
So it will not interfere with the current occupants.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
you
I'm
don't
just,
want
I'm
to.
just making,
Oh, no, ma'am.
asking questions where you were thinking you wanted to place it.
That between the fence and the road, there's a section right there belongs to the county. Did everyone get a copy?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Who's gonna pay
You need
for
one
it?
more?
And is this something, who pays for this signage?
We're asking for the board approval, and because it's a county school, we're asking for your assistance in accommodating for it. It only costs $2,500, and it's not like a figurine that, was put in the park the other shortly ago. It's not something as costly as that.
Yes, ma'am. No, and I'm just asking because I don't know.
Oh, yes,
When these
ma'am.
other historic markers are placed in communities, is that something, is there a Federation for Historic Signage that you get a grant from, or is that something that normally a community pays for? And I'm just simply asking, I don't know the
Well,
answer.
and very well stated. That I'm not sure of who pays for it, but we're asking that the board would approve it, and a small fee of $2,500 to place a
Okay,
sign there. Yes, sir.
Attorney?
I would like to check into this, because I think there may be a designation that we can get for this, and
think so, too.
possibly
Yeah.
get it, I'd like to get it paid for, if it's a way to do it through the state and have it recognized as that, in that process.
Yes, sir.
But could you give me your information so that I can contact you to make certain that we stay in touch with each other? And at
Yes,
least I
sir.
know, and I don't just expect you to give it to me.
Right now,
Right
of
now,
course.
but-
I'll stay to the end and give it to you. No problem. I appreciate that.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. I think there is an avenue to get this done that won't cost you, won't cost the board. I think there's a
It's got to.
there's a way to do that. So would you mind us just acknowledging that you came and let us investigate this avenue and see if we
Okay.
can get it done for you through a historical way? Would
That
that
would
be
be
okay?
awesome.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Anybody
So-
want to make that motion? Supervisor Williams, is in your district?
I do motion that we acknowledge Ms. DeVos' presentation and look into ways of funding her request.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
great.
We'll be back in touch. Thank you, Ms. Ball. I've got a motion. I need a second, please. Supervisor Montgomery was the second on that. Supervisor Howard, can you hear us?
Can.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hey,
Motion passes 5-0. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, ma'am.
Great. And I just have one other question. Does that mean that contingent upon how it's being paid is when you will approve it? Or are we gonna approve it?
I think what we'll do is we'll investigate how we'll move forward on this, and if it comes back and it's not an opportunity, then we'll bring it back to the board and see how we move forward. Okay?
Right.
But I think that there is a possibility to put this on the historical registry for you. Okay?
Great. Thank you so much. and
No
thank
problem.
you for your
I
time.
do think that one way or the other, we should get it accomplished.
Oh,
We should
great.
work on it, getting it accomplished.
Thank you very much.
But
Thank
that's a
you.
very historical school and have done some very historical things over
Yes,
the
sir.
years.
Well, I tell you, there's a big community event at the Curry Center on Saturday, and I'm sure everyone will be delighted to hear that the board is
Right,
indicating
and we'll
that.
have to check with the leasing too, just to let them know, okay?
Yes, ma'am. of
Okay,
course.
thank you so
very
much.
and
Thank
Thank you. to
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
We do keep in mind that Mohai is a state aid road. So the easement on the state aid road is different from a county road. Yeah. So
Valid
it
point.
does
Thank
ex-
you, Supervisor
It does
Williams.
extend further than just a regular county road.
Okay. Mr. Morgan?
Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning, good morning, sir.
Howdy, howdy.
You should have in your packet a contract amendment on GovEase. They have done our land auction for the past 2 years. We started when COVID was big and all, and was kind of concerned about it. But anyway, now they've started doing, they'll do everything. They'll vet the bidders, collect the money. And the good thing about it, they'll take credit, debit, wire transfers. We don't do that here.
Right.
We get a check from a taxpayer, a blank check, and we fill it out after the sale. I think it's a good deal. Of course, the rate is gonna go from 1.25 to 2%.
But if you look at the difference in non-collected fees that sometimes you get and the access for this program, don't you think this is a much more beneficial because they can do this online?
I think it is because a lot of people are going to bid where in the past they might not have bid because they can do it by debit card or wire transfer or ACH payments. So I think we'll probably be more money to come in. I don't know whether it'll be enough to pay the difference.
Right.
You don't know until you do one. So.
Right.
But I think it's a good idea.
Okay. You've heard what Mr. Morgan's wanting to try this new way of putting this more accessible way of bidding on the government contracts online. Got a motion by
Second.
Supervisor Montgomery to support that. I need a second.
Second.
Supervisor Trainer, all in favor?
Aye.
Yay.
He said
Motion
yes.
passes 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Morgan. Anything else?
Thank you, boy. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks so much.
You do so.
Mr. Warner, purchase of radios for VFW. I know I heard a lot of excited volunteer firemen contact me after you met with them and told them about the possible new trucks and all of that stuff. I know they're excited about that. So thank you for moving that forward. It's very important.
Well, we are very appreciative of the board and what y'all do for us. We really are. 'Cause we do need some help. All right. Today I'm here to, how's everybody doing this morning?
Great. How about
Good.
yourself?
Good. I believe y'all have the proposals already. Daddy said don't sugarcoat it, just get to it. So here's what I got. I need some radios. The ones we have are these Harris radios. They're old and outdated. If you look at mine right here, this is a good one, and you can see what it looks like. And I communicate a lot with these guys because I'm pretty much their primary guy. The ones we were going to go to, we want to go to something like this with a mic on it, a little bit easier to handle. We're having trouble getting parts. I sent this off. I sent 5 of these off to get them repaired. They've had them a year and a half. Still can't get parts for it. Can't get them repaired. The batteries on these things, they're costing me about $1,000 a month just for the batteries, just every month, just to replace the batteries on these things. We can't communicate to each other. Down in Sturgis is a big area for us down in Sturgis. So if I'm sitting here in this building and you're in that building, you're having a heart attack. You know, we can have the best life safety stuff there is, and I can help you. I can have my AED sitting there, but if I don't know that you need my help, if nobody let me know, I can't come.
Right.
We're using pagers and phones to communicate. It's just we need new radios. We're just to that point.
What's the range on those radios? And I'm just asking, is that how that will compare, with the people in Sturgis and different places that need to communicate?
It does. The biggest part is they're just old and outdated. They call them bricks, and they just don't keep up anymore. And I asked, Kristen was supposed to be here today, but she could not make it because she's a little bit better on the technical terms, like the 6,000 gigabytes and stuff like that. That's just out of my technical knowledge. But these are going to pick up better, especially with the 3 new systems. I've sat in on 3 meetings where she's looking at getting a new system in, and these will be in line with the system she picks.
It's just
In
getting
a
to
nutshell.
It's just getting to a point where
Is there a grant available for this
Pick up.
by any chance?
Well, I should have said that to begin with. I did have some good news besides the bad news about having to spend money. The good news is all 7 departments put in for forestry grants, and we all 7 got the grants. So we actually got $6,000 apiece, which is about $42,000. Most of that money is going toward radios. 30-something thousand is going toward radios, but that's not enough. I know if you look at the proposals there, I think it's what, 270, 260. I can't remember the number off the top of my head. So we put in for 7 grants, and we got 7 grants. So we're doing good here. We really are. It's just, the grants just aren't that much money. And we don't have time and money. That's the biggest issue.
you need 150 of them.
Yes, sir. We actually have about 165 volunteers. Some of those don't have radios. I'm not even asking for all of them. I'm just looking about 150. Mainly because we're buying 15 with the grant money that we just received. So that's gonna knock us down.
So you asking for the 5,000 BKF
Yes, sir.
rather
Now,
than the 6,000
if you look at those,
BKF?
yes, sir. If you look at those estimates, they're a little bit different, and I have to go through there and I kind of want to explain it to you. They got a 5430 and a 6430.
Right.
The 5430 is more kind of a personal radio. The 6430 is made more for a fire department. It takes more of a little bit of a rugged use, but there is a difference in prices. The 5430 is about $1,600, and the 6430 is about $2,400. So there is a big price difference in that. Now, we're not like, and I'll just explain why I'm kind of wanting to go with about 30 6430s and about 120 5430s. A lot of our volunteers respond to a lot of medical calls, but we have a lot of that don't go in the fires. You know, a lot of our volunteers are 70 years old. A lot of us are a little bit younger. Like myself, I'm going to go in the fire, so I need one that takes a little bit more abuse. Somebody who just goes to a lot of medical calls is not going to need one that's really fire rated. They're going to need one a little bit less rated, but they still need one.
I was gonna say, can the 5430s take the heat? I know the 6430 can.
They can. It's just that these are built a little bit more for the fire rated. I want to show you these things. Look at this radio, the knobs. You see the knobs, how they're close together, and these are spread out. If you got your firefighter gloves on, when you go, they're big and bulky, and when you go to turn these knobs and turn these channels, it's hard to do. The other thing is the new radios are going to come with a mic. So when this thing, it sits in your pocket like this with the flap open. So to get it, you have to take it out, and you have to key up like this, just like this. This radio, it will sit in my pocket. I have it on like this. All I got to do is key up like this, and I can talk right into it. So it's a safety issue, which these are also, I mean, the whole radio is a life safety issue. We just need them. So that's the big difference. I'm sorry.
How many 6430s? I didn't.
I'd like to get 30 6430s
30.
and 120 5430s. Now, I'm going to have to go in there and recalculate some of these, but it's roughly going to run about the same, because one of those estimates is calculated out already. I think it was the 20, I think it was actually the cheaper one. But I got them priced where you can see all of them. And, you know, also there's a Motorola in there. It's kind of like Chevrolet and Ford. You know, it's just which one you prefer. Personally,
That's real expensive.
they're more expensive. And here's the thing, I actually like a Motorola. I like them better. And I prefer one. But the taxpayers' money, you can't justify doubling the cost. I mean,
Not that much.
they're like Chevrolet and Ford. They do the same thing. It's not like
That's a big difference.
it's not. We're right here and right here. It's not here and here. It's not like
I do want to ask, you know, when you send these radios back in, because I've had to do that before with radios, what about the service on some of them? You know, I know some of them you can send back in, it's closer and get service. Any difference on any of them?
on the old ones.
On the new ones that you're proposing?
On the new ones, we should be able to get. Well, they'll have parts on these. We can't even get parts on these anymore.
Okay.
So we'll be able to get service on these, but their new radio, you notice they got a 2-year warranty, well, a 5-year warranty. So if anything happens to them, they should be replaced.
Okay. Y'all heard the request. Any more questions?
I do have a question. Where would we,
State contract.
I guess I'm asking our county
No,
administrator here.
I did not. I just told them to get me quotes.
He has
on
the
it,
funds.
because I
He's
was-
just
That's
asking
it
for
in his
approval.
budget now, because the
Yes.
fire truck we talked about could possibly take up to 2 to 3 years to
Okay.
get.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, we got a motion by Supervisor Trainer to accept, a second by Supervisor Montgomery. Any additional questions? No? All in favor?
Aye.
I do know we're on a time crunch, and I'm not supposed to go over my time period, but I do want the board to be aware of this. In the last week and a half or so, we've had 2 more trucks go down. We had a pumper truck that is unrepairable. It's going to cost more to repair the truck than what the truck's worth. And then we had a tanker truck go down, and I've got a video right here. I don't know if y'all can see this. Do you see the water coming out of the tanker truck? That's not good.
Not good.
It's not even holding water. And also, and I just want to bring this to your attention right now, because this is something we have to deal with now instead of later. There's our tank. When we were doing that happened on the same night, those 2 holes. So they're going to have to be repaired too. So I just want y'all to be aware that I'm going to be coming back and asking for some money to do that also.
Can you weld, I'm just asking, can you spot weld those until, for right now, to get us,
Well, you can spot weld it, and then a hole pops up over here.
well, I
But-
understand, I
but
just
we're-
didn't know.
Yeah,
just,
we're trying. We're getting estimates, and we're looking at it.
What,
Okay.
what tank was that right there?
That tank is I believe that's the one out there.
Not more.
Bethel. at Bethel.
Oh, man.
How many of those tanks you have around the county?
A lot. And they all,
Pretty similar.
they're getting old, and some of them need repairs.
Are those old fuel tanks or tanker car?
Fuel tanks. But the two trucks, you know, I just came to y'all last month about the trucks. We had a lot down. These just happened, those two trucks just happened recently, that tanker truck and that pumper truck. And the reason I'm saying this is because the trucks we ordered the other day, we got backed up because the ones we ordered came in 6 months late, and the ones we just got were 6 months late. They were supposed to come in on last year's budget. The ones we ordered the other day, used to you could get one in 8 months. It looks like they say a year and a half, but it looks like they're going to be more like 2 years, the trucks we ordered the other day that are coming in. So, with that being said, I'm asking permission to kind of look into maybe getting another truck in this budget year. I do have the money, but if I can find one, I'd like to look for a demo truck. What they call demo trucks is, they go around and show them off to people. They're already stock ready. They're already built. And sometimes you can buy those demo trucks. So if I can find one, I'd like to I got 3 or 4 months, you can buy it right now. The other ones are just being built.
Okay, you've heard the request to look for a demo truck, motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Montgomery, for the volunteer fire department. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you for
I
bringing
do have I have one thing for it. I'm sorry. Did you want to go ahead? From the chair, I just remember how we discussed the stuff in the bags that worked, like your pulse and your taking. Just because I personally experienced that with the volunteer fire. Have we looked at?
I'm on top of that.
Okay.
I've already got those in order and purchased. I've got his name's Shaq. He works at the hospital. He's already getting the whole bag, so that way I can get a med bag kit for every department, and I'm going to try to get 2 of them. They're already getting them stocked with the stuff we need.
Perfect. Thank you.
It's in-
They definitely need those.
It's in the process, and it's just has.
Thank you.
Yeah, the citizens of the Mohai Road and Pleasant Grove community donated some land for the purpose of building a fire department there. So those individuals are without fire protection in that area. Since that land has been donated, the only thing we have now is a drop tank there, and of course that doesn't reduce the price of insurance, and it doesn't do much for fire protection neither. Could we look into the possibility of moving forward with developing fire station on that land that was donated for that particular purpose?
I got your answer already on that. Well, with the new trucks we just purchased, like I said, Sturgis didn't have a tanker. They were without. When they built these stations, they built them 2 bays, which back then that was fine, but they shouldn't have built them like that. They should have built them 3 bays. So now we got trucks coming in that we don't even have room for them. We're going to have to sit them outside. I've already looked at this. We're going to have to add a bay, or 1 bay, or at least 2 bays on at Sturgis. Craig Springs Road. I've already talked to and tried to kind of estimate this because I see this coming up. I try to plan for the future. 1 bay is going to cost about $30,000. 2 bays is going to cost about $50,000. So if you just take that in perspective, we can put a station up for about $50,000 out there. And there's also another area besides that. There's one other area right out here. It's in between Adenton, Maben, and Sturgis. There's 220 households. There's 220 households
in that middle.
It's right in that middle that are not getting protection coverage. All our areas have got a 7, 6, or 8, something like that. This has got a 10. If we just stick a $50,000 building up there and take 2 of our old trucks that we're replacing and stick them in there, we automatically drop down to 8, and that will save them. I'm just roughing numbers now. I'd have to get you, but I'm saying $500 on insurance.
Well, I'm glad to know that you're at least thinking about the possibility of building a fire station in that area that was donated for that particular purpose. Then, so let's continue to talk about that and continue to look into some plans to make that happen.
Yes, sir.
Kind of get to his point, kind of get a master plan and exact where you would put that station. Of course, the land's already donated. Some cost estimates on that, and then also like where you're talking about, in the middle of,
I've drawn a blank. There's 5 roads that come together, and it's the perfect spot.
I know exactly where you're talking.
I'm drawing a blank right now, but
We can even ride out there and look at exactly what you're talking
but
about.
we have discussed that, yes, sir.
And Mr. Warner, I would encourage you to wait, and the Clearwater Group is coming up next to speak on our agenda, and they have been super successful in getting us funding from the legislature for all types of projects in the last several years. Very, very successful. Millions and millions of dollars working with the legislature. So I would encourage you to stay around.
Well, that's who I
and
need to
let's
talk
see
to.
if
That's
we
who I
can't-
need to talk to.
If we can't put, get y'all on some of that on the agenda as well. I think that there's an opportunity to get that through some government funding.
I
Is
think
there?
that's good.
Well, thank you.
That's good.
Anything else for you?
No, thank y'all.
I need a motion to acknowledge.
So move.
Supervisor Montgomery, second by Supervisor Williams. All in favor?
Hey.
Passes 5-0. Thank you so much.
We really do appreciate y'all.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Warner.
Appreciate that.
Appreciate what you're doing.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Barber? How are you? Welcome.
How's everybody?
Clearwater
Great. How about
Group,
yourself?
thank you.
Good to
Good to
see you.
see ya. So I have 2 issues that I want to walk you guys through and be prepared to answer any questions that you may have. First, let's start with the good news, which is sort of a debrief of our legislative session. Thanks to the efforts of this man sitting back here, Representative Robertson, and Senator Bart Williams, we were able to work very closely with them and their leadership, working with the Lieutenant Governor and the Speaker of the House to get $1 million finally for Maven Sturgis Road. So, I wish we could have got more. We certainly fought for more, but I'm glad that we were able to get that. And certainly, the folks in that area will be glad when those dollars are able to be put into that road project. So that's good news. We've been lucky and fortunate working with Rob and Bart over the years to find success. I will say, you don't have to tell me anything today or tomorrow, but let's start thinking about the 2023 legislative session. What are your priorities from infrastructure from within the county? What do we want to go? Sounds like volunteer fire trucks maybe on that list, or stations, or whatever it is that you guys want to talk to us about. But start thinking about that. So as we get into late summer and early fall, as we are talking with your delegation here and leadership at the Capitol, we can already start to get it on their radar. It's always good to be early versus late in that process, as we have found out. And if there are no questions about that, I'd like to talk to you about ARPA research that our group has been working on for you guys. So this is the information that we have determined. Of course, Treasury has put up new information regulations. Sorry, I'm going to look at my phone where I have my notes, because I want to make sure I tell you this accurately regarding how you can spend this money. So I don't know what you know and what you don't know, so I'm just going to tell you everything that I have, because I haven't been 100% up to speed with what you guys have been talking about. So there are 3 things that I want to talk about. One is potential usage of these funds for the dam in Oktibbeha County Lake. Second is using it for roads that have stormwater issues. And then thirdly is using it in a lost revenue compensation model for lost tax revenues during the March 2020 to current date. So we'll start with the lake. So Treasury has determined that ARPA funds through the state SLFRF, which stands for State Local Fiscal Recovery Fund. That's I think the technical name of the where the federal funds are coming from. But that you are unable to use ARPA funds for dams and reservoirs other than the provision of drinking water and the management of wastewater and stormwater for already existing dams and reservoirs. So I don't think that I'm going to remove the word think. I know you can't use your ARPA funds directly at the lake, because it doesn't serve the purposes of drinking water, wastewater, stormwater. So I wanted to start with that. I will go next to the ability to use it if you have stormwater issues with roads. So this is,
Barbara,
yes, sir.
Let me interrupt you right quick. According to Steve Gray, with Mississippi Association of Supervisors, that up to $10 million based on standard allowance can be used according to county regulations. Anything that we are able to spend county funds on, we can use the ARPA funding up to $10 million for the very same thing. There is a certain particular category that disqualifies us, but the standard allowance authorizes us to be able to use that money. So I'm sort of trying to figure out where, and that's from the state treasury department. He set regulations and everything else. So I'm trying to figure out how do we get so far apart on these things.
So, Marvell, and I'm sorry, you broke up a little bit, but you may not have heard me. I've got 3 different aspects of ARPA that I want to talk to you about. The first was about, using the funds directly at the county lake. The second one is using the funds for roads that are impacted for stormwater. And then the third one is using the funds for lost revenue to reimburse the county general fund for whatever projects the County Board of Supervisors deems worthy. And I've got some specific examples from Alabama. So I think that I may hit your point here on my third one. If you'll give me just a second on that, please, sir. Does that make sense?
I will.
Got you, thank you. So let's talk about the stormwater. I want to read again. These are roads that are impacted due to stormwater issues.
Is this new? I mean, we didn't
Yeah, a lot of
talk
this.
about-
Now,
I mean,
this.
I'm just asking, some of these have changed.
Some of
right?
this has
And I don't
changed.
mean to interrupt you, but.
Yeah, that's a great question. This is the federal government. They're continually changing things and updating, updating their rules. Because listen, they're getting questions from counties and cities throughout the country, and they're constantly having to figure out what do they deem appropriate in terms of the spending. So yes, some of this is new. I don't have the answer if this is new from yesterday or from a month ago, but it is definitely new from the last time we've had this conversation. But good question. So this is, let me read this directly from the final rule. The final rule now permits the use of, I'm going to use the term ARPA instead of SLFRF funds for the repair, replacement, or removal of culverts or other road stream crossing infrastructure to the extent the purpose of the project is to manage stormwater. In addition, and this is really important, Treasury understands that the repair, replacement, or removal of culverts may necessitate the repair or upgrade of roads. So they obviously understand that if you've got a road and you got to repair the culvert on the side of the road, that you're going to have, or under the road or wherever it technically sits, you're going to have to do some repairing of the road itself, and they're giving you the ability to do that. And then it's got some other points about that, but that's the big part of that.
Can I stop you right there and just ask? I know before roads weren't really okay. We didn't think roads could be operating.
It was very ambiguous.
And so, we just had a lot of projects that came in. I know October Road, a lot of projects that didn't go to bid. I mean, they were way over bid. So are you saying now that ARPA money can be used for roads?
And then let me give you, this will allow me to transition into my third category. Okay. And I have 2 examples from Alabama on the third category. One is Scott County, which is where Huntsville, Alabama is, obviously a growing area there. And then one is in Coleman County, Alabama. In Coleman County, Alabama, and in Scott County, they went down the pathway of saying, you know what? We had lost tax revenues during COVID. We're going to replenish the county general fund, with the lost tax revenues that we estimated. You can go up to $10 million, okay? And they used those ARPA funds. They had their ARPA funds. they put it in their general fund because they were able to prove that they had lost tax revenues, and they spent those on road projects, specifically mentioned in 2 different articles in these 2 counties.
We always show increases, so I'm just throwing this out there to
Coleman
ask you
County,
this.
Alabama had an increase too. And they specifically stated, even though our tax revenues went up, they did not go up as much as we anticipated because of COVID. Listen, this is it. We
And
can.
I'm just asking, because I don't want the federal government to come back and say, briefly, you owe me $9 million.
And yes, and I'm not an auditor or an accountant, so I'm not going to be the one to answer that. But listen, we all can use common sense and know there was no baseball season for Mississippi State that happened. Or at least some portion of it was canceled in March of 20, April of 20, May of 20, and then football season. You know, it was a capped capacity for Mississippi State football games. So you know there were lost revenues, county revenues. I can't tell you how much those were. You guys are going to have to figure out how to figure out what that number is. But the big point that I want to leave you with is, yes, you can replenish your county general fund with ARPA dollars up to $10 million, and you guys will have to determine how you want to spend those. And then the last thing is the 2 counties in Alabama decided to spend it. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
We can replenish it up to $10 million, which in turn can be used on the Duval County Lake Dam. Is that correct?
You can use these funds for whatever the board decides to use them on.
Equipment purchase.
Yeah. So, you know.
So I would just ask the question, because they designated, I know you're saying that part of it, but you know, with the government, because they designated, if you're going to use it on the lake, does one supersede the other?
I don't know the answer to that.
And I think that's where a lot of the confusion has come in, because a lot of people read the statute and it says you cannot use it on this lake. And then there's this, well, you've got this general fund. So how would we find that answer out? I mean,
it's very clear that you can't use your funds on a recreational lake to repair a dam or repair the lake. That's very clear. You can't do that. Going through the different route through using general funds, I don't have an answer for you for that today. I'd need to spend some time with Rob and we figure out how to get an exact answer. If that was a route that the board decided to do.
Is that something we should get an AG opinion on?
I don't know that the AG opinion is going to be
The only opinion you need is that these 5 folks at this board here, because I fully understand what we can and cannot do it all. There's no need of us to keep beating this horse down, keep beating it. Now, we already know that the state will not match ARPA money we use for the lake. We know that. We already understand that. So there's no need of us keep going back and forth, getting AG opinion. We need you to go ahead and make some decisions and get some things done. Now, if that's what you need in order for you to make your decision, I don't have a problem with it. But I fully understand it from A to Z, the whole process.
I would think of.
And understand the politics behind the whole thing too, because I've been in it for a few terms here.
Well,
but it comes down to what this board decides it wants to do. 3 votes, that's all it takes.
So hopefully I've been able to give you an understanding of what your options are and to see what some other.
And we have not gone through that formula yet. The Golden Triangle Planning and Development is employed to determine whether or not we have lost revenue or not. Then, once we show lost revenue, then the board can.
I think we lost Supervisor Howard. Let's get him back on, because this is a part of the conversation he'd want to be.
You're right, though. You're going to have to be able to prove it. The feds come back in a month or in 10 years and say, now, how did you determine that it was this amount?
How did you make that determination?
Well, it's kind of like you just said in those 2 counties in Alabama. They're not saying they didn't have an increase in their millage. They're saying they would have had a greater increase.
We're going to make sure you're back on.
Without
Get
COVID
you back
conditions.
Okay, I'm here. I don't know how much did I miss of the conversation?
We halted until you got back on, because we knew you wanted to be involved.
Okay.
Supervisor Howard, my statement was concerning us to move forward to make a determination whether or not we have lost revenue or not. Then we can make a decision as to what we can do with those funds out of the ordinary spending. there?
I think it's the appropriate thing to do because you're going to have to be able to validate to the federal government at some point in time, this is how we determined that we had this amount of lost tax revenues during this time period.
Now,
Can I also suggest that I think Steve Gray would be more than happy to come speak to the board. And I do know that from the time the ARPA funds came down to the counties all over the state, Steve and Derek has been completely 100% on top of all the rule changes and everything. So I'm totally confident that they can sit down and see exactly what you can and can't do with this ARPA fund because they've been on top of it. Steve seems to think that we can go ahead and do it. But anyway, I think it would be wise to get Steve to come sit down and speak with this board also.
Okay, we'll see if we can get him on the agenda.
But is that gonna convince you?
Oh, me personally, are you asking me? Okay, so I will say for me, and the citizens that have reached out to me, there's a lot of different dynamics to this now because we've gotten further down the path than we were initially. I know when it first came out, and we talked about the ARPA funds, we were coming off a $8 to $10 million estimate for full replacement.
Right.
So in my mind, I was thinking maybe $2 million to fix the dam because we knew it was just the spillways, and now we're at $17 million. That's going to include a bond if we can't get federal funds. The second thing is the possibility of decommissioning. There's people that stand on both sides of this. Whether you decommission the lake, which means still that it has water in it, but with the decommissioning design, it wouldn't hold as much water. We wouldn't be classified as high hazard, so the design would cost a lot less. Do we look at the possibility of that? Do we possibly get the price on both? Putting the dam back to full replacement or decommissioning it and putting it out there so we know, and because we have matching dollars, do we possibly look at using that money for projects that are going to double our investment and then let the people vote on what they want to do on that and whether they do a bond for either one, whether it's going to be $5 million to decommission it or $20 million to put it fully back. Let the citizens decide on that.
So if Steve Gray comes, you still won't be satisfied. So I don't
Again, and I don't know why we continue to throw out numbers. And every time we throw out a number, it's different. Now it's 20 million.
Well,
now it's 5 million to decommission.
I don't know what it'll cost, but we know it's 17 million.
Let me finish. I don't think we continue to do that when the only way we're going to completely 100% know is go through the design stage and put it out for bid. I mean, if this board decides to spend the ARPA fund, let me see the hand, and I'm looking at you online. Let me see the hand to increase taxes to fix this County Lake Dam. Because the fact of the matter is, it still remains
you see my hand?
that we are mandated by the state of Mississippi to fix it. So let me see the hands of the ones that are willing to raise taxes. We're going to spend the ARPA fund. We've got a $9 million head start with ARPA funds, but we're going to spend it and then vote to raise taxes to fix the County Lake Dam. Let me see how many hands we got.
My hand, the only hand is up. Supervisor House. Supervisor House and the board.
Yes, sir.
We need, we're wasting a lot of time. We need to, and that's not even the biggest issue, dealing with the lake. I mean, because we don't even control the lake. So
we got to fix the dam. I mean, I don't know why we've got to fix the dam on the lake.
But whatever you do,
that's just bottom line.
But whatever you do, you got to get 3 votes.
Well, I don't think fixing the lake is the issue. I think which way we go to fix it is the issue. I don't understand why we're at this point we are now, why we can't do why we can't do a RFQ and see what it would cost, because we do work for the citizens, all of the taxpayers, and there's a lot of them that do not want to invest this money and put it back. Why can't we do an RFQ and see what it would cost to decommission it?
But every time
just to give us a cost estimate. Why?
If we want to continue to spend taxpayers' dollars going down this road for study after study after study, and we keep coming back to the same thing from the 1970s, that's fine. But in the meantime, how long are you going to continue to put people's life and safety at risk, spinning your wheels on this thing?
Well,
I mean,
Supervisor
bottom line
Howard,
is, it's gotta
Supervisor
be done.
Howard, we know that the dam's not gonna breach, okay? So saying people's life at
You
risk,
can't sit
you
down,
can't,
Supervisor
you cannot
and
say
make
that because the
statement.
geotechnical report
can't
says
sit
that
there
it's
and
not
make
gonna
that kind of
breach.
statement.
Quit
That
saying that.
That is absolutely an unfair statement you just made. You don't know what the dam's gonna do.
I know what the scientists said, and they said the core is solid.
Hold on.
The
So-
scientists,
I,
the board and everybody has said since the 70s.
I'd like to make a
it's
motion
dam.
that we table this issue.
Okay.
Well, here it is. Here it is. I don't know why we keep spinning our wheels and we listen. Taxpayers have a right for their say so, but this board has been for 7 years has looked at every angle that's available. We've looked at all the studies. We've got more information than the average citizen out there. So I don't know why citizens continue to tell us to do this and do that, and we continue to follow up behind. When we have the information in our hands, we know what it's going to take. We already know that. That's why we voted to continue to move forward like we have, because we already know what it's going to take. But listen, if you want to continue to spend the taxpayers' dollars, study after study, go ahead and vote. All you need is 3 votes to do it.
Okay, well, in saying that, we do already have the hydraulic studies that have been done by 2 groups. So I would like to ask this board if they would consider, which won't cost the taxpayers anything, putting out a request for proposal on what it would cost to decommission the lake, because the hydraulic studies have already been done by 2 groups. And then all we need to do is put that out there and see what it would cost, and then we can bring that back to the board to see if we want to spend any more on doing that. I will say that it shouldn't cost near as much. We're almost at $500,000 with the studies that were done. I agree with Supervisor Howard on that. But we've already got the studies, so I would like to see if anybody would be willing to see what it would cost to decommission it. So I'd like to make that motion from the chair.
Supervisor
I'd
Howard.
like to amend that motion. Why can't we use the group we already got? Because you get another RFQ, you got to bring another group in. They may not get the information that the group that has now, and that's going to cause this process to be even more expensive.
Well, I don't want to amend my thing. I think that competition is good, and I think that you know, it could possibly, if you have another group saying it's going to cost this to get decommissioned, it could possibly bring the cost of the design down as well. The taxpayers have paid for those studies, so that's eligible to any group that comes in and uses it. So I would like to, that's my motion. I do not want to amend my motion, but that's my motion. If you don't want to second it, I understand
your
that.
motion. If we continue to let Mr. McDonald run concurrently with another study, let him continue on the path of the designs that because we've already contracted with them, so therefore we've contracted for them to continue forward with the 30% design. So I'm fine with that, as long as we don't stop Mr. McDonald.
Question on that. So you're saying, Supervisor Howard, if I'm hearing that right, you're making that second to look in the possibility of decommissioning it and getting a study done by who?
McDonald.
By McDonald.
By the Pickering MSEG group.
And that's what
I will say,
John,
yes, sir.
John, I am, because only thing continue to happen is delay tactics. So the best thing to do is vote to move forward, because I can see from the time this started, there's been nothing but delay tactics, and this is another one. So let's spend some more of the taxpayers' dollars moving forward with this. And I think at the end of the day, the taxpayers is going to see that the decision we made was the right decision, because when you talk about decommissioning, that means you got to do something with all of that water that flows into that lake. Go upstream and build 2 or 3 little smaller lakes as retention ponds. Go downstream and secure the channel so that it doesn't wash out all kind of debris
Yeah, the
and
downstream
material
effect.
off of that channel, rip wrap that channel all the way down, continue to maintain it, and then go downstream, possibly buy property from people that's going to receive a ton more water than what they're receiving now. So I'm fine with it because I already know what it's going to show. It's going to show we're going to spend less money fixing the dam and moving forward.
I do want to tell you this, Supervisor Montgomery. If we go with a decommissioning, that doesn't mean that there won't be some water in the lake for wildlife, is my understanding. And because we won't hold as much water, the design will not be qualified, doesn't qualify as high hazard sound. So the design should cost a lot less. But I would like to add some competition to this by allowing another firm to come in. It doesn't cost anything for those studies that have already been done. We just hand them over.
Can I say this? Decommissioning the dam does not mean the dam will not be high hazard. As long as people live on behind the dam, it's considered as high hazard.
But that depends on the water. That depends on the water in the lake.
The dam means you cannot let water build up on the dam. If water ever builds up on the dam, which it will, then it goes right back into the category of high hazard. As long as people live behind the dam, it's high hazard dam. End of story.
I will say this, I think that doing this will put both cases out to the public. I think there's a misconception, you know, you're spending the money on the dam, don't do this, you could just abandon it. I think it'll clear up some of the questions that, you know, a lot of people come to me and ask. So I think we got a motion in a second to do just that, so. Any more discussion?
As long as we don't stop Mr. McDonald from moving forward with the design to reconstruct the dam.
No, we wouldn't stop him either. I think do both in concurrently and clear up a lot of confusion, you know, to the citizens out there and maybe even to us as well. So.
Second.
No, we got a motion in a second. Motion by Supervisor Miller. Second by
Supervisor.
Howard's second wasn't what she wanted.
His was amended, and I didn't approve the amendment.
She didn't accept it, so it died.
His was amended to, my motion was to put it out RFQ to see if there was another group, you know, like one of the other groups, because we've already got the study. Because I do believe competition is good, and I don't think it's going to delay the process in any way. Just to put out a request, and all we're asking for is not a design of the decommissioning, just a cost estimate. And that way we will have that information. You see, the taxpayers have already paid for those studies that were in the letter that William Burkircher put out to us. He explained to us what we had to have. And the taxpayers have actually paid for that twice because Mr. Pritchard did it the first time, and then Mississippi Engineering Group has done it as well. So all we have to do is hand it over to them.
Yeah, but you know, the board ran Mr. Pritchard off, so then that was null and void.
We don't have it. We don't have it in our possession. We don't have those studies in our possession.
So my thing is, but my thing is to just put it out there and let another group come in, just because there's different eyes looking on it, and I think competition is good. So that was my motion originally. I got some seconds with amendments, so.
Mr. Barber.
Yes, sir.
Are you still there?
Yes, sir.
We've been searching for funds now for 7 years, and you all have done well for Occidental County. But District 3 in particular has not received any of that money that you all have found and brought to Occidental County. And again, I understand if it's good for whatever district is good for Occidental County, but what I am saying is we have to do matching funds and take taxpayer dollars for matching funds to get these things done. Those matching funds come from District 3 taxpayers also. So I guess my question is, do you foresee in the future any funds coming to District 3?
Well, here's, you know, this is what I'm paid to do. I'm paid by the board to go advocate for projects that you guys deem as a priority for the county, and whatever projects that you ask us to go work on, that's what we go work on. When I look at the list of what we've been able to get funds for in the past, and I'm not sure which of these are in District 3 or not. Of course, this year, $1 million for Maven Sturgis, $1 million for Octok last year. The year before that, in a special session, $750,000 for Longview Road. We got money in our very first year for Old West Point Road, Sun Creek Road 1 and 2, Longview, Silver Ridge Road. We obviously were able to help facilitate ceasefire expansion of broadband in the county, so on and so forth. I'm not sure. I'm not trying to tout myself, but we have really worked hard for you guys, and y'all are a fantastic client for us.
And I certainly do appreciate that too. But what I'm saying, the taxpayers in District 3 would love to see a huge project be able to take place in District 3 also.
And we will work on whatever you guys tell us to go work on, and we're always going to give you our honest opinion of whether we think we can get the project that you tell us to go work on, whether we can find funding for that or not. But I certainly understand where you're coming from, Supervisor. I certainly do understand.
Well, last comment. I think we did make the County Lake Dam one of your top projects. So are you telling us that we probably need to move it from being one of the top projects and maybe replace it with something else?
I didn't hear his question.
He said, should we replace the lake with something else to get something in District 3?
It's a grant.
That's what he asked.
I guess to best answer your question, Marvell, is we've had a lot of success with road projects. The legislature has been very supportive and helpful of road projects. I think the lake is a difficult one for us to go find money for through the traditional routes that we're looking for money.
I couldn't understand. I heard some other feedback, but anyway, I was just wondering, since we did name the Occidental County Lake as one of our priority projects, my question was, do we need to go ahead and replace it with another project that we have a possibility of more success? Is my question.
I would say yes. The answer is yes, just to be candid with you. If we're going to the legislature asking for funding, I think it's very difficult to get funding for the Occidental County Lake, just to be really honest with you, through the routes that we've traditionally gone.
Thank you for your honesty.
Supervisor Howard, did you notice in your email this morning that we got a thing for a possible grant from Mr. McKercher that talks about possible funding is 1.9 million. It's capped at 300,000 per dam. I guess this would be to help with some studies. So this could be a possibility.
Senator Williams had called me last week and alerted me of that. And while I'm right there, I do want to tell Senator Williams how much I appreciate him out there looking for ways to help us with this project. But Senator Williams had called me last week and alerted me to that. And I did get the email this morning, though.
So up to 300,000 per dam, and this could be used. Could possibly be used on a study. 65%.
So with all the discussion, what did we decide?
Well, I made my motion. I know there
Your
were some
motion
motions with
is
some.
your motion RFQ
My
out.
motion was to put it out for RFQ just to see who, I know that we have spent almost $500,000 with this other group doing these, but we do already have these reports to let somebody else come in and, I think competition is good, to give us just a cost estimate. And it's not going to cost the taxpayers anything to put out the request for proposals for this, because all we're asking for is a cost estimate on decommissioning. The hydraulic studies have been done, and that's all I'm asking for them to do is to see what it would cost to decommission. And I do think we need to answer some of those questions that are brought up. I do think it's important that there's water left out there for the wildlife. I do think the good question is to ask, would it still be considered high hazard? It is my understanding that that's based off the amount of water that's held in the lake. And if we do decommission it and lower the amount of water, the design will not be held to that. But I think those are the types of things that we put in this request for proposals, and we just bring it back to the board. I think it could be something that could be done very quickly.
I'll second that.
Okay.
I think it's time to go ahead, get a clear path, let everybody in the public out there know we're above the table, look at all possibilities.
So you've changed from wanting to allow to do dual tracks. I thought that you wanted to go down dual tracks. What she said, and then plus what Marvell said.
He wants to have the other group looked at
Right.
decommissioning it.
That's another motion there. Can we carry this one on through and then come back and
Yes,
deal
we
with
can.
that?
I mean,
Okay.
why not
We got a
have
motion and
somebody
a
else
second
take a
for-
set up?
Got a motion and a second to put up RFQs to have proposals for the cost to, and all we're looking for is a cost estimate, not a design, and to answer the questions, to come back to the board for a cost estimate of what it would cost to decommission the lake.
Supervisor Howard,
Yes, sir.
do you mind doing that and carrying that through, and let's just clear some of these questions up to be able to move forward?
I don't have a problem with that. My only concern is, and the request is we not stop Mississippi Engineering from moving forward with what we've already hired them to do.
No, we're not moving. We're not gonna stop them.
They just won't be looking at decommissioning the lake.
Right. Let someone else look at
That's
another option. That way, I know there's a lot of taxpayers, and there's some out here today, and that's just a small percentage of people that have come to me and are totally not in favor of doing anything on the lake. But this will clear. But I understand that.
John, I do understand that, but they need to go talk to the state of Mississippi about that.
I understand, but most people won't.
That's who they need to go talk to.
Most people won't. They come to us. This way, we have the information out there for them. No misconceptions, and we'll have a clear path to take.
I do understand that, but I'm also saying that this is not something that the Duval County Board of Supervisors just decided they wanted to do.
No, I get that, but I mean, I think there is a misconception out there that people think that that's the case sometimes, and I want to clear this up, and people will there'll be two options out there, and people will have a clear idea of which option we should take. And I'm not even against putting it on the ballot in November. I mean, but
I'm fine with it. I mean, as long as this board knows that they are knowingly and willingly continue to place the life and safety of people that live over behind the lake in jeopardy, I'm fine. Let's continue to procrastinate. But I'm good with that.
well, I think this at least get the ship or get the train out of the station, So
Good deal.
that's my second. Get it moving, get it going. If decommissioning it is not feasible, well, then we'll know. So,
Sounds good.
Got a motion and a second on the floor. Any other further discussion? All in favor?
Nay. Nay.
Supervisor Howard, how are you?
He said
Supervisor
nay.
Trainer was a nay.
He's for it.
Which one are we voting on?
We're gonna continue to let Pickering do the design, but we're gonna put out a RFQ for a cost estimate for decommissioning and what that entails.
Yay.
You're a yay or nay?
he said yay.
Yay. Okay, it's 4-1.
Yeah.
It's cleared
So
up.
these are together.
It's 4-1 to put out a RFQ for a cost estimate for groups to come in, give us a cost estimate for what it would cost to decommission the lake, and also let us know what that entails.
But also, we need a time frame on that. We don't need to continue to extend this out.
I completely agree. Can we go ahead and make the motion that as soon as Supervisor Attorney Roberts writes those up, that he can email those to us and we can email them out to all the firms that we did emailed the other proposals out to?
Sure.
Can I make that motion?
Yeah.
So I make the motion that attorney, Roberts, gets those standards together, and I think it's important that we want to know, but we're just looking for a cost estimate on this, not a design, but a cost estimate, and exactly what decommissioning is. I think people need to understand if there's still going to be water in the lake for wildlife and the people that live around the lake. And by decommissioning it and lowering the water level, are we still going to be a high hazard dam? So those are the questions I'd like answered.
Get it answered.
And would the design be held to that? All right, so that's my motion to go ahead and get this emailed out. Have I got a second on that? Got a second by Supervisor Montgomery. All in favor?
And
Motion passes 5-0.
I got one more question for Mr. Barber. Okay, so you had mentioned those 3 categories on the dam. We can't use it on number 1. 2 being that it's a road and there's stormwater involved. Do you feel like we should, do you feel like we should go the route that way or the lost revenue route?
Well, I think they're both very clear. I think you have really good opportunities for either one. Lost revenue, we see these examples in Alabama where there are 2 counties. Obviously, one is the county that Huntsville's in. I can't remember the name of that county that's doing it, and then Coleman County. But you clearly have options to do either one. You guys are going to have to determine what's best for you. No question that if you go replacing lost general fund revenues, you're going to have to do some calculations on that. You're going to have to get with someone to help you figure that out, because you got to be able to validate those numbers.
But I mean, you could definitely say that that's a road with stormwater coming.
Well, that's the other option. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that would be the easier option.
So roads that have stormwater issues that you're having to repair those.
Upgrade,
probably a better way to say it. Definitely a better way to say it. Or hey, we're going to replace county general fund dollars, tax revenue dollars that we lost because of the pandemic. So I think that's going to be an easy thing for you to be able to do. You just got to get somebody to help you do the math and be able to validate it with the federal government.
Sure.
I would like to see us use.
Of course, you can use those funds with whatever you want to. The general funds. I'm sorry, sir.
Yes, I would like to see us use the ARPA funds to fund the dam. The dam. It seems like the only secure way, the only legal way that we can do it to meet all standards is to determine lost revenue. And for us, we have hired the Golden Triangle Plan and Development to calculate lost revenue. Now, we have not had any communication with the Golden Triangle Plan and Development about whether or not they have calculated lost revenue or not. So,
Yeah, I'm sorry, Ms. Coleman.
That was the first initial report that we completed. So I've been in communication with them. The second report that we completed, we took the lost revenue option, which will give the county the ability to use funds for whatever. So I've been in communication with them.
Can you have them send us a report, email it to all of us?
Well, it's not a report that they prepare, it's a report on the treasury site that you have to go in and fill out.
yeah, but they had to put in the calculation though.
That was done the first initial report. I have that in the office. I
Yeah.
did.
Right.
And she'll get that to us,
Right,
all of us,
right.
email that to us.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
All right, thank you for that.
but
I need a
dealing with
motion
the-
to, I'm sorry.
But now that need to be emailed to Golden Triangle Plan and Development so they can actually do the calculation. That's just a general approach, but it doesn't apply to Octaville County. So we got to apply that to Octaville County to see whether Octaville County have had lost revenue or not.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Certainly get
moved.
them looking at it.
Got a motion by Supervisor Williams to get that to Golden Triangle Plan
Golden Triangle
Development.
Plan
Got a second by Supervisor Trainer. All in favor? All right, and I'm gonna motion to acknowledge.
So moved.
Thank you so much. We covered something else that was further on our agenda. But I appreciate you sitting at the table and listening to all this. And we do appreciate all you do. So I need a motion to acknowledge by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Montgomery, to acknowledge Austin Barber and Clearwater report. Thank you. All in favor?
Thank you all.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate all you do.
Thank you,
sir.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Mr. Barber. Carbon and Stillwater for what you all do for Duval County.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Joe Max.
Joe Max.
I don't want to do this.
Glad to see you. Glad to see you. Morning, Mr. Joe Max.
Information to go
We're
to
here.
tribal
I
planning.
see how we're doing.
Now you see how soft it's made.
Run the report to see if we did actually lose revenue.
We got options. I mean, we got
Yes. Thank you. I apologize. We jumped down the agenda. We've been real good about staying on it in the meetings prior, but I apologize. We're 20 minutes late getting started on you.
Well, I'll be brief. I know y'all got a lot, like I say, you got a lot to do.
Before you get started, will you touch on the forestry stuff, even if you're not going to talk about that today? About the billion, about the trees? We talked about that at the round table this time, about the possibility of forestry thing.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
that-
Well,
Are you not prepared to talk about that?
I mean, we just met with them last week.
Okay.
We're, you know, kind of quickly, it's something that, you know, something we've been aware of for a long time. When Keyork came, we found out that this basket at that time was about a 50% surplus. Others are as much as 80% surplus. Mississippi used to be a net importer of trees, of wood. Not that many, but when I came here, about 2003, we net imported. They want to come up with the idea to get somebody to come in that would process the trees. We've got a couple of projects that we're working that are wood-based. Fun stuff to know is, you know, everybody remembers the old sawmill days when you guys shook your hand, he didn't have all his fingers there. The new sawmills are not like that. Very high tech. They laser reads the log and they decide how it's cut and maximizes the benefit. And we're the understanding that sometimes not even touched by human hands until they strap them on a truck.
Oh, yeah.
So, but we just met with them. Told them it's going to be a couple of weeks. We're going to ask. We're reaching out to InSpark to ask them to calculate our hardwoods and our softwoods in a 25, 50, up to 100-mile radius. It's about as far as we think they can bring them. And we're going to work a unique marketing deal that we've been made aware of to see if we can directly solicit some companies that do that and kind of possibly exploit that we've got that, you know, to those that we got the resource here.
So just if y'all weren't aware, there was something in our pack about it, but I think it's so many $1 billion worth of local trees grown by people here, and there's not a way to harvest them. And so there's a great opportunity for jobs and and it's in the billions with the B of people that can't get their trees harvested in the Golden Triangle area. Right. So that's something that they've just started working on. So really positive for our local landowners and for local possibly of jobs. There's a huge opportunity for that here and a need to be able to harvest timber locally.
Yeah,
so.
we've reached out to InSpark to actually calculate the value of that.
Okay.
We want a third party.
Okay, they just said these at the round table. So
well,
I didn't know.
sure. I mean, everybody always says a big number to get everybody's attention, and I'm sure it is a big number. I was asked because there's nothing in the region that provides that kind of benefit, and I said, well, there's a thing called the steel mill right down the road that's probably doing that benefit or more. So, yeah, we just met with them last week. I'm gonna be out of town the next 2 weeks. Betsy stand up, and Meryl Fazak. Betsy's our senior project manager. Meryl Fazakli are working on it right now, and intern Clay Walters is helping them. So they're going to be doing that while I'm out of town, and when I get back, we're supposed to circle the wagons back and see where we are.
Perfect. Thank you. Go ahead.
Mr. Joe, who would actually harvest the trees? Will the sawmill actually? That's a problem with going out, getting someone to actually do the work to harvest the trees.
It's like every other thing. You got to have people cutting the logs. You got to have skid drivers. You got to have truck drivers. That industry's not going to be exempt, and any of the other ones aren't. And getting people, you know, and having folks. Right. We're in unprecedented times. I mean, we're seeing some of the major employers that used to be able to hand pick who they want to hire, offering signing bonuses, and probably between the Big Five and the Golden Triangle, it's there's probably close to 500 jobs that are unfilled right now. From your pack cars, your international papers, yeah, I mean, really. So fair question. I mean, once you come up with the idea, then you gotta be able to get the trees. You gotta cut them. You gotta get them in. You gotta get them processed. You gotta have people doing that. So it's kind of a scary time right now, really, as far as labor goes.
Thank you. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you on your.
Can I jump in right quick? Got
Sure.
a question about that. Is there a follow-up program with replanting the trees? I mean, when you start cutting that many trees and taking out that many trees, then you have to start worrying about erosion. Is there a follow-up program where we do some replanting?
Yeah, Mr. Howard, most of the projects that we worked, a lot of these trees are going to be on what they call pine plantations, and they're going to be harvested, reforested, like that. Some projects we've seen in the past were for pellets for the power industry in Europe. Believe it or not, we're making pellets here, shipping them on ships to Europe, and they're burning wood pellets in their power generation plants instead of coal. Yeah. And my understanding on those, because of the Kyoto Conference, is that they have to document that it's sustainable and renewable, and that it has to come from plantation pines. So most of the programs, or most of the deals that'll will have that as an element for it. Most of the companies that are looking at doing these in some shape, form, or fashion are wanting to get some kind of green credits or green acknowledgments.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
You know anything about carbon credits?
Not a little bit, not much.
Okay.
A little bit, not much. I can tell you this: everybody's looking at carbon footprints. You know, I don't know. I'm 61 years old. I watched some of this stuff happen in the 70s, and then it went away. I wonder how long we're doing this, if a short period of time or a long period of time. But everybody's looking at it. The retailers want to use green energy. The manufacturers, the automotive companies want to use components that are made green. You may or may not know it, but SDI Steel Mill at the Golden Triangle is the most carbon efficient, it's the most green steel mill in the country. And that's not just because of stuff they've done, but it's because they get their power from TVA, which is green, and all of that plays into, and subsequently it's let them get a bunch of sales to these automotive companies that want to be able to tout, you know, the Toyotas of the world, the Nissans, the Fords of the world, when we say that they're using products got less carbon footprint.
Fair enough.
Okay. All right, thank y'all. I'll be brief, and I'll stay as long as you need and answer any questions you got. First thing I want to tell you is, y'all remember we came before you on the gap zone. Seems like just the other day to get y'all to enroll in the gap zone. That's growth and prosperity. That's by the state of Mississippi. Legislature sets that up. Poverty comes into play on that poverty rate. And Tillamook County is one of those weird counties, not weird being bad. You go in, you go out. You go in, you go out. I think 3 or 4 times, John, maybe,
at least,
that we've gone in and out. Well, guess what? We're out again.
We're out. Yeah.
We're out again. So, but we do have one company that took advantage of it. Project Cocoa. That's the company that we're working with in the old Gulf states, Nucor or Kirby. I'm trying to catch all generations there. You know, it is one of the three. They got their application in, have been approved by the state, and they will participate in that program. We expect that they have finished up all of their environmentals, and we expect that they will close the end of this month. Mid to late the end of this month. I'm going to tell you late, and I think we'll catch there. We're in the process of trying to shop some dates to get the folks from Jackson to come up for a big event. We plan on having a big, not a ribbon cutting, not a groundbreaking because it's an existing building, but basically an announcement and unveil the company, who you are, what they do, all that kind of stuff. So they got to participate in the gap zone, which was I think a good thing, but it's gone. It's gone. We've probably some things for you to note. We had a good, had a pretty good year working with MDA and Governor Reeves on the park. We got $3.4 million more dollars for North Star Park to develop that. We're proposing to clear and grub, relocate some minor streams, cut the tops of the hills off. The pond that was drained, go ahead and get that leveled off. And a temporary show road on the flat spot. So when you go down to Rutherford Road, you'll be able to drive in all weather road. You'll be able to drive in.
He matched the 20% of it.
Huh?
That the governor matched the 20% of it.
Yes.
Didn't count
Yeah. The money came from, that's right, money came from ARC. We made it very clear when we actually did an application and asked for $1.2 million. And when the site consultant came back and toured the site, she asked us to add some stuff that took it to 3.4. And we said, we weren't expecting to get to 1.2. We damn sure don't expect to get to 3.4. But more importantly, don't come to us and ask for some match. I said, Starkville, like Tippah County's got $14 million in this. We're not going to ask for a match on a project unless it's a deal, a project. And so I think Governor heard what we said, and he so graciously is making your 20. ARC money is 80% of it, and he is making the match out of some monies that he has. Neil Schaefer has been procured as the engineer. PDD is doing the environmental work right now. Then we'll start design. From a practical standpoint, I don't think we'll start construction until spring of next year, although we might be able to hit some smaller things before the fall, maybe. But that's pretty good. If you haven't been out there lately, you need to go by. Spec Building is sitting on the ground. They're out there working. Jesco is out there working. Went out there this morning before I came up here. I expect in the next few weeks you're going to start seeing things go vertical. We've got some people looking at it. People want existing buildings. So we've submitted it of late on several projects, and we're in high hopes that one will pop. Going back to your grant, the lot just west of the Spec Building, just west that you can see out on from Highway 82, the grant will build another 100,000 square foot pad there. So we're going to have a 100,000 square foot pad with a 50,000 square foot Spec Building, and then we're going to have another 100,000 square foot pad next door to it. And our vision is we'll just probably about 4 or 5 on that south side of Jack Wallace. Probably there's a bigger one looking on the north side. Probably 2 or 3 projects on the north side of Jack Wallace, other side of Gary, and then the flat spot that we've got a couple of different things that have looked at. Not the whole thing, but I think the biggest one we've had looked there is like 22, 25 acres. Right now, you really don't realize when that thing gets cleared and grubbed how much you're going to be able to see from Highway 82. Our east line is where the Louisville sign is when you're getting off at the Louisville exit. Where it says Louisville, that's where our east line is. And when all those trees are gone, you're going to be able to see that part of the park all the way around from. You don't need to be looking because you need to be turning. But
that's true.
Yeah, my wife says, "I'll look, you turn." But got that. Got a distribution center looking at the Spec Building along with some other ones. We are one of the things that we decided to do is we're having some renderings commission with Neil Schaefer. A lot of people can't visualize stuff. You take them to a house lot and you say we're going to build a house and bedroom's going to face this way in the front of the house, and if they don't have that brain, they can't envision it. So what we're going to try to do is using some drone shots and some renderings is start trying to get a vision of what this looks like, maybe even some animation where people can look and see and they know. So
sounds good.
I think got close to 30 projects in the last 2 years. Have shown interest in the site. We've submitted on the site. We just need to sink some hooks.
What about the gas situation as far as, and I know coming into the park, is great, but also coming into Starkville because we're about tapped out on.
Yeah. Well, if you'll remember, as part of this project, Mr. Montgomery, Atmos did the right-of-way acquisition and the environmental review from, and I say it wrong, Phoebe to here. and about a 6 month is what as long as it takes to build. It's about the same amount of time that it'll take Fort County to set the transformers in the substation, and you can't get a building built in 6 months. So if somebody will sign a hold harmless with or keep hold with the gas company and the electricity company, those things will be done before they can get their building built.
Okay. But I've seen them clearing that off between, in other words, I've seen them doing some work. I guess they were just clearing that right away back.
Well,
not laying the
Mr.
lines,
Presley's,
or-
he was our friend in this, and he
He
stayed
helped
on
us
them
out.
pretty good and got them to commit. So I think, Garen just wasn't enough gas load to justify being there. The spec building occupants could actually put you over the limit to need that. I think we're serving from the north. From the south now. They did some improvements under the road for right now.
I guess, yeah, I was just asking, when's the bell gonna ring that they'll start?
Use.
Use.
Somebody goes in there and does electric heat and no gas or minimal gas, probably does it. Processed gas, absolutely.
Okay.
Rail opportunities ain't no, even on the screen, no way.
You'd rather me tell you the truth, right?
Tell you the
From a
truth.
practical standpoint, probably not. It just costs. When rails get pulled up and get decommissioned, the cost to build it is just so expensive. We're seeing $450 a foot to build rail. That's a lot of money, and that's not right of way acquisition, environmental. That's just we had to replace some considerable amount of rails at Yokohama due to some faulty ties by the manufacturer, and just that is expensive.
$450 a foot?
Yeah.
Wow.
450, depending on what dirt you're in, where you are. Yeah. No.
But what's the current status of the line? They haven't. Did they call it decommission? What's that?
No,
Or
I'm
do you
just-
even know? You probably don't even know this.
No, I'm just saying that once they get pulled up, closed, shut down, it's a major deal.
Until have it back going.
Yeah.
Do you really think that rails are gonna hinder us though now where we are? I mean, we've got so many our community I think has a lot to offer.
You do.
Of course I see the positive of that, and we've been 7 years in the desert, but we're hoping to pull out of it right now, is that?
Yeah, well, we had 7 years in the desert. We were like 3 years in a lawsuit, and and then 2 years in COVID. I mean, that's reality.
Right.
No, companies either want it or they don't, and I'm not being sarcastic when I tell you that way. Some deals Betsy says rail is a must, right?
Yes.
And others say it's good if you got it, and others say we don't need it. Depends on what they need. So if somebody needs rail, you're probably not. That's going to make the decision easy. It won't be Octave County that gets submitted. But no, there's plenty of deals out there that don't require rail. Probably some of the fun things for that park is you pull out of there. I mean, you pull out on the main road and hang a right. You got a real short period of time to decide whether you're going to go east or west. And once you're on the road, you're on the road. I mean, you're rolling. You're going east or west or south.
Joe, to be real clear though, because when people sometimes hear rail, they think, oh, we abandoned a perfectly good rail. We did not abandon a perfectly good rail. That is not
Yeah.
reality. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. But once they're gone, they're gone.
gone.
And railroads abandon them because of lack of customers, because of high maintenance costs. Just cost them too much to upgrade.
I know on 12 though,
Appreciate all you do.
and I'm just my personal look. I don't know everything about railroads. I mean, the track's still down, everything's still down, but I mean, I guess that goes all the way to Durant, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But
The truss was burned out in Motor.
yeah,
Osborne.
Yeah, and look, the ties. I mean, ties got a good life, but they got to be replaced every 20, 25 years.
there's a lot of rotten ones.
and there's probably a lot of rotten ones in there.
Lot.
I was told that whole system would have to be replaced.
Yeah.
Every bit of it.
Yeah, be my guess.
But then
But
you
but again, I don't think that hamstrings you or handcuffs you. That oh woe is me. I mean, it's just something you just don't have.
Yeah. I mean,
Will we put tech-type buildings out there? I
What?
mean,
I'm
will
sorry?
we put tech-type buildings out there? Are you
Oh, yeah.
limiting or?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
hey
just-
Betsy, come up here real quick.
Betsy, didn't mean to put you in the hot seat when I said that.
No. She is the keeper of the deals. Just by sector, just run 2 or 3 or 4. Give them an idea of what we've submitted on and types of companies and even where they're from if you want to. I don't care.
A lot of the ones that we've seen recently have stemmed from EV batteries, so your electric vehicles. That is not one, the sites there are not ones that we'd see a battery plant, but you would see suppliers for battery plants. Automotive suppliers, we've had some plumbing fixture suppliers, manufacturers, most recently a distribution center, like last mile delivery, a few technology companies. This is a hot spot for technology companies looking because of the university and because of the education of the workforce here. So off the top of my head, that's what I've got.
And it seemed like for a while there, these she's right, battery plants are going to be bigger than the park, okay? So no EV battery plants, but components like copper foil was one of them that we got pretty deep into. Made copper foil for these EV batteries for the new electric cars. No, that's kind of the stuff we see going there. The distribution is okay, but the higher tech, again, 50 to 100,000 square feet, probably capital investment in the 25 to 35 million dollars, and probably in the job count 150 to 200 jobs. That would be indicative of the deals that we're seeing. Look there, that would fit there, that go there. She talked about the fixture. I'm talking about urinals, commodes, those kinds of things. It's a German company. That would trigger your gas project.
Is there one thing that deters them from coming here that we can help with? I mean, that final factor when there's 5 companies and you're submitting them to, is there something that we need as a county need to address that, you said, hey, if y'all would invest in this, it would get us over the, I'm just asking.
Really not. I mean, different things always make them work. Make them make decisions and things you don't think of. We had a prospect here the other day, and they're in the automotive sector, and we met at CABS at Mississippi State. They were looking at other communities in Mississippi and Alabama, and we said, well, you're automotive, let's just meet at CABS. So that's where we had our pitch. And Julie Jordan, Dr. Jordan, took them downstairs and walked them through and did a tour before we left. And we knew the place that we were competing against. We got them to open up the guest room for lunch. We went downstairs. It's not open for lunch. Y'all know that. We had lunch in the guest room. Then we drove. I got to drive one of the key decision makers around before we went to the university. Okay, he was a 31-year-old single man, just broke up with his girlfriend. I took a little bit of opportunity to run him through the Cotton District, and there were some co-eds walking down the street with a dog, and I said, does the other town have this? And he laughed and said, I don't think so. And I said, I'm talking about the bike trails. I'm talking about the bike trails. But no,
I was wondering where you were going with that.
No.
You see my face is getting red.
And then they went to the university, and they were, with the equipment and stuff there. So you never know what. But here's the deal: that guy's a key decision maker, and he if we won the project, would be relocating to here. So all of that was kind of sort of important, really.
Absolutely.
Didn't want to buy a house, wanted to rent, all that stuff. So. But no, no, I don't think so, Ms. Miller. I think we got enough tools in our scabbard here to do it. I think this $3.4 million will dress it up a little bit more, make it nicer, let people see it more. I think that spec building getting built will start getting. We'll have leads of spec building. Lead times for a building are right now a year. So if somebody's looking and they need to go. Now, you might be able to get one in 26 months, but you're going to have to find somebody that's got an open slot that's giving it up. So having that product is good. Is good. We continue to have people looking at the flex steel building. Not as much as the Nucor building just didn't last very long. I mean, from the time the agreement was made between Nucor and the city owned the property and Nucor on the building. Once they set got that and set the price, it wasn't a matter of months before it was gone.
Oh, they did sell.
Yeah, well, we're closing on it. I mean, knock on wood, sir. We're supposed to close the end of this month.
Yeah, I was reading about something
Yeah.
that I wasn't sure whether the deal came through or failed to.
No, it's going well.
Sounds good. Anything else for Joe Max?
Joe.
We are excited about the future. We hope this spectrum, generates a lot of interest. We appreciate what y'all are doing.
Thank you.
A motion to acknowledge for the report. Supervisor Williams, second by Supervisor Montgomery. All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank y'all.
Mr. Randall, I'm sorry we made you late. Come on up, please.
Hey, good morning, Mr. Randall.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
Glad to be here.
Good to have you.
A bill that was passed in 2021, I think Bill 2643, allowing the constable the opportunity to serve tax delinquencies papers, and that's why I'm here, ready to go to work.
Yeah, it's in other words, delinquent taxes on mobile homes. Is it
No.
mobile homes and housing?
No, property.
On property. So land taxes, whatever.
Well, this, in my report, I was gonna bring it up. I don't know if y'all want me to do it now or just wait.
Well, go
but,
ahead while Mr. Randall's here.
Thank you.
What we're doing is, the sheriff's department normally serves my delinquent tax notices. Well, now, since the constables are able to do it, then right now I have 249 summons to be issued. The constable will get paid $45 per summons that he serves. All right, with this going into effect, with him being a county employee, he has to be paid through payroll. So that's gonna cost the Board of Supervisors anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000 to get it started. But when the people come in to pay their taxes, instead of me doing my settlement every month to the Sheriff's Department, I will do a settlement every month to Oktibbeha County to get that money back.
It's a reimbursement.
It's a reimbursement. The county will get paid for reimbursement when the taxes are paid, but Curtis will have to be paid for every summons that he issues.
Right. So when you say you get with the sheriff's department and versus getting with him, give me that difference again. In other words,
I'm asking that Curtis be able to serve all of my summons because he knows a lot of people and he can get them served. And I try to do whatever I can to help people from losing their taxes, because the ones that he's going to be serving, their 3 years are up.
they're at the end of
They're at the end. They have until August to come and pay these taxes. And I would prefer him to do it because he has more time and he knows everybody and he can get them served.
And another thing, that was going to be another question I guess I asked to the sheriff's representative, I guess, Chad.
They probably wouldn't mind.
I was going to say, would that take a lot of stress off of them?
It would take a lot of stress off of them.
What about the expense to us? I mean, and I'm just covering the whole gamut of it. The expense to us when when that person pays that delinquent tax. What about, let's say I'm the guy that owes, I'm at the end of my time and he serves me.
Right.
And I still don't pay, but then it's like Supervisor Williams, let's say he picks those taxes up and pays for that delinquent tax.
Well,
will he pay that fee?
Well,
yeah, that's part of the summons.
Let me go back and explain that to you.
That's part of the summons. When
well,
he issues the summons.
Right. Regardless, every summons that Curtis will serve is going to cost it's $45 per summons that he serves. Now he has to be paid regardless, and with him being a county employee, it has to go through payroll. Now, say if you owe taxes, you didn't come in and pay your taxes, somebody that had bought the taxes in 19 comes in and gets a tax deed, then no, the county don't get that money back. I don't get no money off of it, neither does the
Someone
county.
that's truly delinquent and then loses that does not the county is not made whole.
No. But now a lot of time, very seldom do I do tax deeds because I do whatever I can to get these
keep that
people
from
to
happening.
come in to pay their taxes. So whenever they come in and pay their taxes, I could have 15 to 20 people come in. Well, each month I'll do a settlement to the county to pay that money, to pay that $45 back instead of, because normally I'll do a settlement to the sheriff's department.
And you pay that to them.
Yeah. But then now, if he serves them, my settlement will go to Octavia County.
In your opinion.
You're saying it's a wash either way.
It's a wash either
It's a
way
wash
because the
either way.
sheriff's department has to send that money to the county too.
Yeah. We get
So-
reimbursed.
So it sounds
We
like
We'll get reimbursed.
Right.
The
Sounds like
county.
a willing and able party,
Right.
and now legal party.
And he would do a good job.
can do it.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Willing to
they
do
did,
it.
they did, pass it to where any constable can, you can ask for it, it will take a lot of load off of the sheriff's department.
Constables serving
And
the
from
delinquent
an
tax
attorney
sums, any
standpoint,
issue
y'all-
with the sheriff's department with them doing that?
See, it'll take a big load off of the sheriff's department.
From a liability standpoint, these people, the way you get out of a tax sale is to claim you did not receive summons.
Correct.
I.e., you get somebody that knows who they've, you know,
Right.
these people, a lot of times, some of these, the deputies we have, they're younger deputies, they don't have the experience that he may have, that we can make certain we're getting the right person, so that's how you attack one. So from my standpoint, I would prefer having someone with knowledge, knowing who they're giving these summons to. These things are
Very important.
very important.
And
very
I'm
important.
asking, when you serve that, do they sign? I mean, do you have a body camera on that you handed them the paper? I mean, how does that?
I'm in the process of getting the body camera now, but once I serve it, I have a return I have to fill out to show it how I served it, when I served it, you know.
Well, let me say something
And
on that
I'm
too.
just asking because
Not to
he's talking
interrupt
about
him,
that.
But my summonses, we've already got them ready to go. They're downstairs. There's a summons, and then there's, on the back of the summons, there's a form that Curtis will fill out.
Right.
I personally served, or I was unable to serve. Or I served Jane Doe because John Doe was not there. And then he'll have to get it notarized. So that is proof that he's tried every.
And the sheriff's department does a good job.
They
too. I'm
do.
not trying to say that they don't.
No,
But
I'm
they're
just saying this will take some
short-handed.
stress off
Yeah.
of an already strapped agent.
This, to me, is when we're doing these tax sales, this part is probably one of the most important parts.
Yeah.
Okay,
So-
we've heard the proposal, Mr. Randall, to start serving the tax summons,
The delinquent.
tax summons, and Supervisor Williams made that motion.
I'll second it as long as, in other words, if Ms. Sharon doesn't have a problem with it, our tax assessor, and no one else has a problem.
Well, the tax assessor, this is
This is-
strictly in my office, and
Okay.
to me, I would prefer Curtis, because like I said, he's got a lot of time, he's,
One contact too.
and he knows these people, and I believe he'll do a good job on trying to find them.
So just
Just
Curtis
that.
is the only constable that will be
Yes.
doing this?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, the
So
other
it would
constables
be-
do not wanna do it, it's
Okay,
strictly
it'll
gonna
be
be
Curtis Randall to be doing this. That's Supervisor Williams' motion, and Supervisor Montgomery seconds that. Any further discussion? Supervisor Howard?
No, I'm good.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
When can I
Thank
pick
you.
them up?
Tomorrow.
I'm gonna be out of town. I'm going to a conference today,
Okay,
and I'll be back Friday.
that'll be fine, we'll have everything ready for you.
Okay.
You can come
All
down
right.
when you
Yes,
get
sir.
back.
Thank you all.
Look,
Thanks.
thank you.
Take care.
All right, Captain Watson. This is increased by money by $3,000.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
I'll make it short and sweet. So, in our normal budget amount for buy money, that's the money we use out on the streets for narcotics units, buying drugs, undercover buys. We've exceeded what we anticipated this year, so we're asking for an increase of $3,000 so we can keep on through October for the end of the budget year.
Supervisor Montgomery made the motion to approve that. Supervisor Williams seconded. Any further discussion? Supervisor Howard?
I'm good.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Thank you.
Go get them.
Yes. How about the ankle bracelets? Have y'all started those yet?
So we've In fact, I need to talk to her about that. We anticipate starting in the middle of the month, getting our first shipment in and starting to put it on people.
Awesome.
So we're rolling ahead vigorously.
Mr. Baggett?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Baggett. How are you this morning?
I'm doing well.
Good, good.
We got the reports out. Has everyone had an opportunity to look at them?
Okay.
Any corrections or anything we need to make?
Anybody have anything? I think the school board is what we need to talk about, or for the school, if you want to go ahead and address that.
Yeah, I met with Mr. Daniels, I believe his name is.
Malden, probably.
Yeah.
John Malden.
That's right. I met with him one day last week. He has some material he needs to move from just right there on the same site.
So if we explain everybody where that site is, because everybody's wasn't involved in all of those conversations.
Okay, it's right behind the building that the county just purchased on Academy Road, I believe it
Lynn
is.
Lane, so it's off of Lynn Lane, it's at the high school.
That's right. It's a soccer field.
Okay.
And they're trying to get a level elevation on a portion of the soccer field. And probably 800 or 900 yards, which sounds like a lot, but it's not. Material needs to be loaded and moved probably either 100 feet or maybe 30 or 40 yards right there and spread out again. With no rain, I feel like we could do it in 4 days. And so that was his request to the road department.
So
You have a
moved.
A cost
Do you
estimate
have
on
a cost estimate for us? I just want to make sure that our minutes provide some estimate.
I don't, but I can get one together pretty fast.
Just send it to me so I'll have a
I will.
to
So
take a minute.
4 days, how many people,
4
got to
days.
delay any road projects that we were working on, any of those concerns that somebody might have?
If we do it right now, it won't. If the board gives us to go ahead and we can go out there maybe tomorrow or the next day and actually start to do the work, it won't delay any projects. It's going to take an excavator, a 10-wheeler, a truck driver, and an equipment operator. And they won't be working it all at the same time. We'll go out and just stockpile a bunch of the material, and we'll take the truck out, load it up, and it's just moving it really maybe 100 feet.
On their property?
On their property.
Okay.
And spread it out with a dozer.
Okay. So you've heard the motion to do that with giving the attorney the cost estimate. Anybody have any concerns about that or would like to make the motion to approve that?
Motion made.
You got a motion. Second.
All right, got a motion by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Williams. Any further discussion on that?
I have a question.
Okay.
Is this an in-kind service, or am I to invoice them for the cost that Mr. Baggett put together?
In-kind service.
In-kind service. So we just need the cost estimate for the school district. Need to take a vote. All in favor? Supervisor Howard?
In favor.
Okay. 5-0. All right.
Okay, we have 2 roads that we are starting to build. We hadn't started them yet, but they're going to require that we take fence down. Right now they have sturdy fence up. They have livestock within the area. And those roads are Osby Road and Hertz Road. And on Osby Road, it's approximately 300 feet of fence. On Hertz Road, it's approximately 600 feet of fence. And like I said, they have very sturdy fence up right now.
Have you taken pictures and you know whatever the guidelines last time audit came that we're following those?
Yes, ma'am.
And I know that there were some prior board orders that we had when we looked this up last time that said that we reimbursed for that instead of actually putting the fence back up. Is that what audit said that we do now, that we don't put fence back up? I know that there were 3 board orders from prior years that I pulled.
I think it's optional, based upon the board's discretion. What do you want to do? Just pay for the fence, or you want to replace it?
Replace it.
It depends on whether we're giving them the money or not to do it.
Yeah, but they didn't.
Did they say we could put fence back up? Right.
They did.
That's what they want, the fence.
They didn't give a. Yeah, I'm talking about the audit department now.
Okay.
They didn't specify either pay for it or put it up.
It had to be approved by the board.
It has to be approved by the board, whatever you're gonna do.
Well, and then you had to have something from the owner that said that it wasn't
That's
really
right.
a fence there before
That's
we
right.
started, right?
That's right.
I'm just telling the board that there are 3 previous board orders that we have on file that talks about how in the past that we reimbursed for fencing. So I just want to make sure if we need to do something, you want to check on that?
I'll check it, make
Yeah,
sure you get it.
well,
Okay.
those are on the 4-year road plan. Those roads are on the 4-year road plan. So in order to continue with the 4-year road plan, those fences will have to be relocated. So I'm a motion for approval for the relocation of those 2 fences. And that will come out of 4-year road plan budget. That's where those funds will come from.
I think as long as we're within the guidelines that audit has said and within our previous board orders, maybe, if you want to look at that, I don't have a problem with it.
Second.
You got a motion and a second.
You got a motion and a second on the floor. Any further discussion, Supervisor Montgomery?
As long as it's kosher with audit, I'll be in favor.
I'll check to make sure we're good. And he and I talk a lot, so we'll be good regardless.
Okay, I'm with that too, and then, like I said, if you need to look at those previous board orders too. So we've got a motion and a second. The discussion is to make sure that we're in line with what audit expects us to do in previous board orders. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion.
So in a posture now to move forward with it?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Mr.
With us community.
Yeah. Can't pronounce the man's name. O'Houston.
O'Queeson.
O'Queeson. Mr. O'Queeson needs a cover on Patch Station Road to enter his property.
Make a motion that we install a cover for Mr. Walter O'Queeson.
Okay, got a motion for that by Supervisor Trainer, second by Supervisor Montgomery. All in favor?
Walter O'Queeson.
O'Queeson, I can text you his number. His
O'Queeson.
name. O'Queeson, I can text you how you spell his name.
Okay. All right. Is that a yes, Supervisor Howard?
He said yes.
5-0. Okay. All right.
Okay. We have some roads, I guess it's due to the amount of rain and everything. We get a lot of runoff from the road onto an outlet that was built when the county built the road. We have 3 of those situations right now. One on Riviera Road, one on at 1036 Southgate, and one at 990 Southgate. And like I said, they built the road and they simply put a ditch down to capture the water off of the road and keep it going. And these ditches need to be cleaned out. The situation on Riviera is going to need some additional work. And so I'm bringing that before the board for direction.
Is it?
I move that we authorize our road manager to go ahead and remedy the situation on Riviera.
Can you include all 3 of those?
I don't know what we're.
Or they
Okay.
be separate?
Can you, he just wants to make sure we're clear for, if we're going on, are you going on private property? Is this county?
No, we're going on private property.
Okay,
But,
and so you want to go on private property on Riviera and where else? Southgate and where else?
1036 Southgate and 990 Southgate.
You want to look at these and?
Those individuals came and did presentations to the board.
Yeah.
You remember when the gentleman came and did the presentation to the board? That we've been working on for a while.
Did we
The 2 neighbors.
create the problem? If this is the one that we created, that the county created the problem, I'm trying to remember which one this is.
Yeah, I'm sure we created the problem on 1036 in Riviera. We probably created it on 990. If you have time to look at it, we can look at it.
Tell you what, go ahead and approve it, and I'll go look at it, make sure that we're protecting what we're
Okay,
doing.
I'd like to look at it.
If this
I'd
is
like to
what I'm
look at it.
thinking it is, we're the ones that ended up, we ended up taking water from one side of the road and dumping it on the other. Is that what I remember?
I wasn't here when it was, well, I was here when they cleaned it out one time, but initially. No, you thinking about
I may be thinking about
Curtis
it.
Chapel.
Okay, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
you're thinking about Curtis Chapel.
Can I add one to that list? And I'll get you the man's, he called me this morning, his name and a phone number. But 172 Lisa Lane, we have a cross drain and it's coming off of us and it's going on this gentleman's, through his yard to a lake, and it's just flooding his whole yard out at 172 Lisa Lane.
Supervisor Howard, would you amend your motion to cover all 4 of those projects?
Absolutely. I would like to make an amendment that we go ahead and cover all 4 projects with this one motion.
I'll second that.
And that's Lisa Lane.
Yes, 172 Lisa Lane.
All right. Is the board, based on your knowledge of this, saying that we're the ones that created the problem? I'm trying to make certain my minutes are correct. So we're the ones who created the problem?
So you've looked at them and we created the issue. That's the reason we're going on private property is what he's asking you for
Right.
audit,
Exactly what
for
I'm asking.
notes.
Right, with the exception of the one Mr.
Well, we
Montgomery
caused it
just-
too. I mean,
Okay. I've looked at the rest of them, what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm not saying we didn't cause that one. I'm saying I've looked at these other 3. I
So
haven't seen
we're
that.
acknowledging that this was a problem that the county created, and we're fixing those problems?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So I just got an email too, and I'm just sharing this now. This is actually in Supervisor Williams' district, and I just got it, but something on 16 Section Road, are you aware of that?
That's in my territory.
16 section.
I mean Chapel Hill Road, right there off of Octal.
Oh, yeah.
I just got an email on that. Are both of you aware of that? Do we need to, while we're here, I just got an email on it. Are you
I'm not
aware
familiar.
of that?
I am. I'm
I think
aware.
he said he's met with you, maybe?
He's
Are
met
you
with me a
aware?
couple of times. Did he call? Did he-
Oh, okay.
I don't
That's
want
a,
to say his name out loud.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Well, this is kind of the same thing, so that's the reason I didn't know if we
well,
wanted
you
to
had
have
to
that.
kind
on
of
there.
refresh,
The question is, do we want?
had to refresh my memory there. It's a lot of things going on that particular road, so.
He's met with both of y'all. He just sent me an email
Yeah,
and
he
said if
met.
you could ask them to bring this up at the board meeting. I'm sorry, it's not in my district, I don't know, but it's on Chapel Hill. He said he's met with y'all. Something about the water and how he's tried to remedy the situation.
Is it Chapel Hill?
Yes, Chapel Hill.
Chapel Hill and Octok.
Yeah, but in this particular
Oh, yeah,
situation.
right,
Yeah, in
right.
this
We
particular
have, we have been addressing that situation.
Right.
And trying to come to some kind of resolution for quite some time.
Is that anything we need a board order on right now? I'm just asking. I don't know. I just got the email. I
Well, you're gonna
apologize.
involve 2 or 3 different landowners. Because, you're gonna
That's what
involve.
dispute is about.
And
That's
part
right.
of, and part of it's the lay of the land too.
Is it in floodplain?
Yeah, his.
Yeah, I don't know. I hadn't looked at it. It looked like it
Okay,
could be.
well, let's approve this order, and then I will let's approve this order, and then I will let you
Yeah.
2 address the other. I'll just let you know that I got an email on it. If it's something y'all want to bring in front of the board right now, I just got the email on it. That's up to
I
you. But
don't-
we've got a motion and a second for these other 4.
For the other 4.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0, and that's for the 4 roads they listed.
1036, let me make sure we got it right. 1036 Southgate, 990 Southgate, 172 Lisa Lane, and then what was?
Riviera, the entrance at Riviera.
Entrance at Riviera.
Okay, and this, the other situation on Chapel Hill Road needs to be addressed, but the landowners need to come together on it, otherwise we're gonna create this great schism out there amongst everybody.
Is this Mr. Billy Dale McLemore? Is the one we discussed this?
No.
Time you get on Chapel Hill Road.
Can you, I'm gonna forward that email,
Yeah.
to you guys, and if y'all can get with him, he's wanting to know what leaders need to get involved in this. He's,
Okay.
said that he's discussed it with y'all, and he,
He did, he
Um,
discussed it with me 2 or 3 times.
so, I don't know if it's something we can legally do. I don't know if it's in a floodplain. I don't know if it's something we created, but I just got it. I just wanted to share it, and I'll get it with y'all.
Can you encourage him to come and get on the agenda and maybe we can discuss it if we, or does that need,
I encouraged him to come to the
Yeah,
board.
but
Don't know what happened.
we have looked at this situation several times, and we thought that the covert was not large enough to take all of the water that tried to flow through it. But apparently it's not, the fact that the covert is not large enough. And I guess that's the only thing we can't, and
Because
I'm
the
not the
covert-
engineer on this, but
Yeah, there's been a lot of velocity increase with the water, runoff water coming to his place.
Right.
And this place is the lowest place. And the situation does need to be mitigated, but I don't know. It's something the attorney has to.
Okay, well, I'll forward that information to y'all. I'll just tell him that we addressed it and I forwarded it to y'all and we will have further discussion if needed. Okay.
Sounds good, sounds good.
Okay, hauling. Now, we had a letting, not letting, bid opening. Apparently, no one submitted bids, and I'm sure that's because of the, I guess you call it elasticity of the prices of gasoline and fuel.
No bidder.
No bidder. And we are in dire need of hauling probably 1,000 tons of 610 material to the intersection of 16th Section Road and Old West Point Road. And I spoke with a supplier in Columbus, and I spoke with purchasing. And I want to get permission from the board to haul that material. It's probably going to be about between $40,000 and $45,000. If we can't get that done, it's going to hamper our road building efforts considerably.
The site that you want to put it, is that going to be at the fire station?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, it's going to come out of the District 2 road plan funding anyway, so my suggestion, go ahead and.
Are you good with that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So, this hauling will be part of District 2's road plan. Okay.
Are you gonna use them the one time to haul?
Yeah,
Just one time?
the purchasing told me I could only use them one time if we're gonna haul that much.
Okay.
And I agreed to do that, use them just the one time.
Okay.
All right, so Ms. Farmer said that she's checked and
Yes.
one time is, you've got the motion and that's legal.
Who are they?
Who are they?
Is it Rogers? What's the name of the group?
Rogers Group.
Rogers Group.
Rogers Group is going to haul the material. We didn't have a bid on it and purchasing has said that we can do it one time. It's been approved.
As long as it's under 50,000.
Okay, as long as it's under a certain amount. It's coming out of District 2 board road money. It's for a project in his district. We need a second on that, so that's the motion.
I'll second.
Supervisor Williams seconds it. Any further discussion?
I would like to know what is gonna happen in some of the other districts that need some of the same materials.
We'll haul it. The county has the capability of hauling it. It's just that we're in a crunch.
You're trying to expedite it.
That's right. And I'm thinking, and I would have to, that's why I was looking at the administrator. I was wondering if this company hauls it and we want a different company to haul it, could that different company haul it?
Not with this board on.
One time, okay, one time, okay.
I don't know, it's probably check into that.
You have to get another board on.
Another board on.
Okay.
Now, if you want to just put it out for bid, then they can haul it as many times. The problem is it cannot exceed $50,000.
Right.
It has to go out for bid. So if what they're doing exceeds that, then that's where the problem comes.
I would prefer
If
we go out to bid after we do this.
Okay.
That's what I would prefer, and I'm sure that's what you would prefer.
If we have them to do this one time and then they have to do it again next month, that's the problem. Because
Okay.
it looks like we're trying to get around the bidding process.
Okay.
That would exceed the 50,000.
But now take under consideration that we advertised for hauling services and we didn't get any bids. But Rogers Group has a contract, I suppose, with somebody to haul their material once they sell material. I'm assuming that this is that's the relationship.
Did
So
anyone say why they didn't submit bids? We advertised it.
Yeah, no one said. But now, over the weekend, the price of gas went up. I mean, just from, and then no one's gonna bid.
Well, getting truck drivers is also a tough thing too.
We can advertise again.
Yeah, let's
So
advertise.
we
Can
know
we
we
do
can
it?
move forward this one time with this, and we've
Right.
got a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Well, if we're gonna advertise,
I'm
we
gonna
should
come up with another
advertise
motion.
right away.
I'm gonna come up with another motion after we pass this.
Because, because you're in need, I'm sure, of that material on more than one project.
Right.
Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second. We've had further discussion. Any further discussion on further discussion? All right, all in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Supervisor Trainer, you got another
Yes,
motion you
ma'am.
want to make on that?
Make a motion that we advertise for hauling services.
Okay, we got a motion to advertise for
Second.
hauling services.
Second.
Got a second by Supervisor Williams. All in favor? Motion passes, I'm assuming 5-0.
If they're gonna put a clause in there where state aid has a clause where if the fuel goes up, then they increase the price a little bit. Does that need a board order to put that in the contract? can we
Can you
bid?
check on that,
I
see
can
if in
check,
the,
I can check on that. We're just living in such weird times.
Right.
I don't know why they
We
don't
got
just,
it.
never mind, we'll talk.
Okay, that's all I have.
I have
I
one
need
more
a
thing.
motion to acknowledge, Mr. Baggett's, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, one more
Supervisor
thing, Mr.
Montgomery?
Baggett, is, on Jeff Pay Road,
Yeah,
that little small strip of gravel.
yeah.
Can you go out there and kind of get an estimate on what materials we would need?
Well, it's on the
pay?
4-year road plan.
Right, well, it's on the 4-year road plan, but,
Yeah, I can do that.
a current kind of estimate
Yeah.
would really help me.
I talked to Mark about that this morning,
I got you.
about that road.
And then I'll acknowledge the road manager's report.
Okay, we got a motion by Supervisor Montgomery to acknowledge the road manager report, got a second by Supervisor Trainer. All in favor? Motion passes 5-0, okay?
Keep
All right,
up,
thank you,
keep
Mr.
up the
Biden.
good work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Acknowledge.
Ms. Livingston, I know we covered some of yours today already, but do you have anything else?
I do. The first thing I have is we have no CD for the month of May, and the funds remain the same at Citizens Bank.
Acknowledgement.
I got an acknowledgement by Supervisor Williams that the funds remain the same. And a second by Supervisor Trainer. All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
Also, we need to renew our contract with Alliance Health Center. This year, it's going up. It was $450 per day, so now it's going up to $550 per day. And this will go into effect October 1. I just need a board order to accept the service agreement for our Alliance Health Center, for our mental commitments.
These are for our mental commitments, which are going up too. This is, I know it's expensive, but this is something we really need. So I need the acknowledgement that it's going up. Supervisor Williams made that motion.
Second.
Supervisor Trainer seconds that motion. All in favor?
And it went from what?
Yay.
We went from
$450 to
per day
$550.
to
$550 per day, for
They got some
the
more calls
contract.
in there too for the position.
This the
What
same.
about the daily
The-
position calls? That gonna
That
stay
stays the same. Nothing's changed but the $450 to $550. Everything else is the same.
Okay.
And that's all I have.
Ms. Livingston, Ms. Farmer.
County business, I have number 1 through 8 for you, if you have any questions.
I make a motion on approval of items 1 through 8 under county business administration.
Got a motion by Supervisor Montgomery, a second by Supervisor Trainer. Any discussion or change on anybody?
No acknowledgement.
I'm a yes, we'll just stand up number 8.
Mississippi Engineering Group. Number 4.
Okay?
Those invoices were stated that they were done in 2022 under my signature, but I was not the president at the time. It says Joe Williams authorized that. But this work, I believe, was done in 2022 and not 2021.
Just the typographical error. I see the invoice date for 1 is April 7th.
Yeah, it just says through March 31st, 2022.
Yeah, but that's through though.
Okay, y'all
Some
wanna,
of
not
them.
pay these and get them to resubmit them
Yeah,
correctly?
let's get that resubmitted correctly.
Okay, so,
We don't know when these were done, really.
all right, I'm sorry, we're gonna back up. Supervisor, who made that motion?
I
Oh,
made the motion.
Montgomery, do you wanna amend this all but number 4 so we can get
And
correct
number 8.
invoices?
Bring out number 8 and number 4.
Okay, cause I'm,
Sure,
yeah.
sure.
Okay, we're gonna eliminate, approving all of county business except number 4 and number 8. And got a second on that for Supervisor Trainer?
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Makes a motion on that.
Now, I
Now,
don't,
on number 8, and we need a motion to approve the claims docket.
now, I don't have a problem with number 4 either, but at the same time, not creating confusion, I make a motion that we approve the claims document, number 8.
Got a motion by Supervisor Trainer, a second by Supervisor Montgomery. All in favor? Motion passes 4-1.
I'll get that correction, Supervisor Williams.
Yeah, let's get that. We don't know when they did that work, really.
Okay, we've got, anything else, Ms. Foreman? Under county business, we've got board attorney. I know we've covered some of this stuff on here with the school request.
All right, the school request has been taken care of. The online records request has actually been taken care of now that I know what I'm supposed to do. And so y'all are aware, I'm gonna be requesting that online records not be,
You made the motion, I second.
the engineer, the county engineer, as well as the county attorney be allowed to use online land records without being charged, because we end up charging the county for charging purposes. I mean, it's just a pass-through.
Motion.
We don't need a motion. I think it's under her purview.
Okay.
The other question that I have, and this was brought to my attention last week, Clayton Village Water Association has requested that they be allowed to use our, and I kind of thought I'd get a little bit better.
Right away.
Our right of way on, you have a map in here.
Right.
And it looks to me like they're asking to use our road right of way. And we own the road through there, so we can put water lines down in that part of it.
Right.
It's up to y'all how y'all.
It's gonna be on the back side of the right of way.
Okay. I'm gonna have to get Clyde or somebody to help me actually designate that. In other words, have a descriptor on this.
That's
The question I have is, are we gonna pay for that, or do I bill the Water Association for this? I mean, all they're asking from us is to use it at this point, so.
Well, if we give an order granting permission, there's no other cost to it.
I've got to have some kind of descriptor. I mean, and there may be a descriptor, I haven't checked, there may be actually a descriptor of this already, so it's really no real cost, but there will be some cost.
Well,
my suggestion was approve.
Right. Whatever cost will be on this. If there's a cost, but I don't see whatever cost. Right. Whatever cost will be on this.
Right. Okay. But the motion would be to allow the Clayton Village Water Association to use our right of way.
Right.
With Clyde's approval, because he normally approves these road boards or anything that is done to the road as such. We'll never approve one without his approval.
So the motion would be, to allow Clayton Village Water Association to use our road bed right of way with the approval of our county engineer.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, correct.
We got a motion by Supervisor Trainer for that. Got a second by Supervisor Williams. All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Do I have anything else?
I think that's it.
I will say that the next thing, and we talked about the Activity County Lake, but we do have this opportunity to apply for this. Do we want to make a motion to have Rudy's office, since they do this, apply for this grant for us to see if we're eligible for that $300,000? So, got a motion by Supervisor Trainer to submit this request to the GTPDD to try to recover $300,000 for these studies. Second by Supervisor Montgomery. All in favor? Motion passes. I'm sorry. Motion passes 5-0. This is for the to the MDEQ to try to recover some funds for the lake. Okay.
And quickly, while we're right there, Administrative Farmer, are you going to contact Steve Gray with the Pacific Association of Supervisors and see can he come to our next board meeting?
Yes, sir. I have them on a sticky to contact them.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. And I'll contact GTPDD also to do that application.
All right. Thank you. Okay, so Massett board.
Oh wait,
trustees?
first before you go off that, I had the privilege of meeting with Mr. Shelton Jones not long ago, myself and Mr. Marvell, and he gave me a list of some information from some concerned citizens in regarding to the Activity County Lake, and I was wanting to see if the board would be interested in investing a little time and energy and effort into answering some of these questions that they had. I think it's 13 questions on this sheet, and that's going to require someone to do some due diligence in order to answer these questions that's on the sheet. And I wanted to see whether the board would be interested in commissioning our attorney to do that, to provide these questions, if you thought that was in order.
Yeah, I have no problem with it.
I think that's a great, is that your motion?
That's my motion.
Okay, got a second by Supervisor Montgomery, to answer these questions and get these back. I'm sorry, any further discussion?
Attorney, are we getting our board attorney to gather this information?
Right, we'll have to bear the cost.
We're gonna ask our administrative staff to gather.
The attorney.
Board attorney.
Board attorney.
Okay.
It seems like some of it could be, some of those questions are pretty simple questions.
They are, and some of them are subjective too.
Yeah.
They're pretty simple though.
Some of them subjective.
Like I said, some
So I don't know whether the board attorney need to waste time answering all of them. Maybe there's some that we can answer in-house.
Well, I would think if any of the board members, it is for him to officially, but if you have suggestions to what you think the answers are, you can email them to him and he can get them together. Mr. Jones has sat through the entire board meeting with us today. I appreciate your time today. Thank you for joining us.
Attorney Robinson.
Yes, sir.
Would that be a charge for gathering this information?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
That was me, Supervisor Howard. I already know that.
Ain't no pro bono here.
Just like when he goes to private property water issues, it's the same thing.
What was the answer?
I spoke for him. I said, yes, sir.
That's why I thought some of them.
But he's smiling. He's smiling over it.
I like making money, so this is
We need those answers, however.
Won't you do this? Answer the ones, like you said, that are the slam dunk, they're factual. The ones that are subjective, you know.
Well, some of the, well, look, the first question is, it's you can answer it, but there's a lot of different interpretations. But I'll be happy.
Do the board of supervisors want to put a not to exceed clause in this?
No.
That may not be a bad idea. I'll do my best to get this answered as efficiently as possible.
You have a suggestion?
I don't. I just, you know, we're having all of these studies done to move forward. I just don't want the board to counter and have to continue to spend a bunch of money just answering questions for each citizen. Each time a citizen comes, I'm not saying don't do this, but every time a citizen presents us with a list of questions, do we set precedents that we're going to continue to do this or what?
Well, not necessarily. I think we just do case by case. But once this is done and this is an official document, then this is something that the public can look at. And I think and you won't have to go back and answer the same questions. If something new comes up, that's a different situation.
Refer to that document.
You can always refer back to this as an official document, because you know as well as I know, if you ask all 5 of us, you'll get 5 different versions of our perspective. But
which, in all honesty, is the reason this will take longer to answer than, because what I'll try to do is answer this
factually,
as factual as I can,
right,
and then put
right.
Because there's newspaper articles that cover some of these questions, and I would imagine that some of the folks probably know the answers to some of these questions already.
All right. So we got a motion and a second. We've had some discussion. Any further discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0 on that.
Yes, sir.
All right, we've moved down now to the Massett Board of Trustees election.
I think that's an easy one. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think any of those trustees are opposed. I think all of them running unopposed.
So they are all running opposed. Thank you.
And I suggest we approve the candidates.
So the motion was to approve the candidates by Supervisor Traynor. Supervisor Williams seconded. All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Okay.
I think somebody got to sign or something.
I will. Heritage Museum Board Trustee. Who is that?
I don't think it's any particular person. I'd make the recommendation that we follow this recommendation here to replace these individuals with Ms. Robbie Black and Ms. Joan Wilson.
Okay, so read those out loud. So it's Roger. Did you get the email?
No, Robbie Black. Robbie Black is replacing
Robbie Black.
Claire Greer, and then Miss Wilson is serving out an unexpired term with Jerry Drop.
I'll get you the email.
That's what that was.
Here you go. Robbie Black.
Okay, so we got the motion by Supervisor Trainer, got a second by, I'm sorry, I'm hurrying.
Myself.
By Supervisor Montgomery.
Oh, man, we ready.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. I will say, the next one is October Hall County Public Library Trustee Board, and I submitted y'all some more names that had, moved forward, so we have a lot of good candidates to pick from.
Okay.
And so, you know, have y'all looked at those, the one that they submitted, and then,
This is your submission right here, if I'm not mistaken. Garraway?
and then also,
I thought you had.
David Garraway, and then Mr. Winfield was interested. Mr. Winfield, CPA, he thought he could bring a lot of knowledge as far as if they needed booking and overseeing. And then Mr. Garraway wrote a really long, he's really interested. He's, you know, his mother was a librarian, and he is over the TV section at Mississippi State University, and his son, they're very involved in the library system. He's very interested as well. So
We can only pick one.
they're all good.
Very good. Then I'll make the motion to put Mr. David Garraway on that.
Okay, motion to put Mr. Garraway on the library board. You got a second?
Second.
Second by Supervisor Trainer. All in favor? Motion passes.
Could we also, and this is totally separate, and I'm asking, could we get the library, maybe some of the board members to come every so often to give us kind of some updates and things that's going on there?
Okay.
I'll contact you.
Yeah,
They'll be coming soon anyway, because, you know, getting close to budget time.
Well, and I know the Heritage Museum is going to be asking for additional funding to their volunteer base to keep it's open. It's not working out well, and so they're going to ask for a raise and funding to put somebody in there part-time to keep the museum open. So they're going to be coming to us about that. I did see where the library had a petting zoo or something that looked like it was really well intended. Maybe had some exotic animals and stuff at it. So that did look like that was positive. Okay. We'll go around the table. Supervisor Trainer?
Nothing from this standpoint, just to say the library is definitely a very valuable tool to have in our community. And I certainly would encourage you to go by, stop by, look in, listen in, and you'll see it's extremely valuable. Extremely valuable.
Supervisor Montgomery? Good. Supervisor Howard?
I'm good.
Supervisor Williams?
Yes, I'd like to clear up my statement in regards to lost revenue, because I really would prefer that we use the American Rescue funds on the county lake, and we probably gonna have to do some local dollars. But I wish that we could use as many dollars as we can from the American Rescue Fund. And it seems like the only way we're gonna be able to do that in a safe way and not be penalized in any kind of way is to actually go through the lost revenue calculation. Not just that Golden Triangle Plan and Development that information, but they need to plug in some figures and actually come up with lost revenue for Octavia County.
Okay. All right. We look forward to getting that. And we have a new lady here from the dispatch. Would you like to stand up and introduce yourself? She's an intern with us this summer. And we hope we didn't bore you too bad in your first meeting with the Board of Supervisors, but please introduce yourself.
Yes, I'm a rising junior at Ole Miss. My name is Violet Jura. I'm from Cleveland, Mississippi. I'm majoring in journalism and English. I'm here interning with the dispatch, just trying to get some experience in community journalism before I graduate. And I'm really happy to be here. That's all. Thank you.
Welcome. We welcome you to Octavia County.
You just here for the summer? Or?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Ole Miss graduate right here. Play football. So I do want to remind everybody we've got an election tomorrow in some of the areas. So remind everybody to go out and vote. We've got a primary. I don't have anything else from the.
Other than the next board meeting will need to be on the 27th. I will be out of office next week, so won't have time to put it together. So we'll have 2 meetings back to back now. the first-
27th.
27.
Mhm.
I have an appointment that day. Can we do it that afternoon?
It's fine with me.
I think, and look, I know we don't like to come at 5:30, but it's, I mean, literally the day after we set our second meeting at 9 o'clock, I got on too.
Mhm.
People
I
that want
have
to come to
people
the
too that-
5:30 meeting.
And I already have it, not knowing that we were gonna meet that day, I already have an appointment that morning, so can we do the 27th at 5:30?
No, I have no problem.
Are you good with that?
I have no problem. But I just like to say for the ones that, since you all mentioning that, I really think we need to upgrade not only from YouTube, but look at having Zoom and other things too, to make our meetings run a little bit more efficient. And I don't mind coming up here at 5:30, but now, when we come up here at 5:30, and the ones that could be here at 9 o'clock be here for certain things, then to me, I'd rather get it done during the daytime. But now if we got a major issue talking about the lake or some type of public hearing or something like that, I understand that. I don't have a problem with that. But I think I'll make the motion that we stand recessed until the 27th at 5:30.
Okay, we got a motion by Supervisor Trainer and a second by Supervisor Montgomery. Any further discussion? Okay, so we stand in recess until the 27th at 5:30. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Y'all have a good day.
Have a good one.
Hey, we were only 25 minutes late. It's not bad. Overtime. I thought
Oh, you
we
talking
were.
about, okay.
Well, and not really, the last
Well,
thing
not
was at
really.
11:10, so I thought we did
As long as we
pretty
get through before lunch, I'm good.
There you
You
go.
got to work through lunch.
Now you talk.
Hey, that can be kind of tough.
Fill out all of
Montgomery.
this.
John, I need y'all to sign.
Yeah, everybody needs to sign this, I'm sorry.